Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. David Patrick Harry with Church of the Eternal Logos, and I am joined by a friend, a colleague, a scholar, clergy, a man that has so many names, he now just goes by FDA, Father Dcn Dr. Ananias. How are you, sir?
Good. Christ is risen.
Truly, he is risen.
Yeah, good.
I'm glad you didn't hit me with the Serbian there.
Oh, yeah. Like a beautiful Romanian, too.
How you been, man? It's been a while since we've been able to stream together.
Yeah, it has been a while. And busy. When busy's good. You know, I told you I was teaching 8 classes.
Yeah.
And
that's
serving at 2 different parishes. So, yeah, we haven't been able to do a lot of the streaming and doing stuff together. But it's good to be back. I think we're the best team.
Well, obviously.
Yeah,
obviously, the hottest live stream right now with 2 people is definitely us.
That's right.
Everybody's here. You know, one of the things we got coming up here and part of today's stream, we're going to be talking about orthodoxy and nature, which is the theme of Orthodox Montanika this year, Montanika 2026. I'm excited to go back. I did the first 3 years. This is year 5, 6.
6. Can you believe it?
Year 6. So this will be my 4th time and Jenny's first time. So we're actually going to make it a little bit of an extravaganza. We're going to fly to Denver early and explore the Rocky Mountains, go to Yellowstone, hit Teton, and then make sure we're there in Butte by June 4th through the 7th. So just want to let everybody out there who sees this stream right now or into the future, if you haven't got tickets for Montanika, the link is in the video description. You absolutely should. It's going to be so much fun. It's just a great experience with other Orthodox Christians from around the United States. We have fellowship, we go to services, and then the discussions. And the fun part is some of the drinking afterwards and hanging out with friends and making new friends. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested, sign up to Orthodox Montanika. I mean, how many tickets do we have left? I think they're running out.
About 50.
About 50 left.
We've expanded it and made it even bigger.
Right. This is the biggest one yet.
Yeah, I've actually had to kind of work with some teams at the parish to kind of figure out spacing issues so that we can get more tables and people in. And also, we are doing it officially begins the 4th, but we have some starting Tuesday, we have some unofficial events because last year we started noticing, people wanted to come early and we did a liturgy at our Wolf Creek Chapel, which is amazing, and people loved it so much that we added 2 other unofficial events early. So it's even though it says June 4th, I mean, you can come early, like nobody's going to get upset. In fact, and that's part of, what makes this conference unique. There's nothing like it among the Orthodox conference. It's exactly what you'd said, Patrick, that the fellowship and community, and that's always been a huge part of it, and why we chose, and we always choose to do it the week after Pentecost. It's a fast-free week. So I know people have reached out and says, look, I can't, how do you do Wednesdays and Fridays? And I'm like, it's uncanonical. Technically on the books, you could be excommunicated if you try to fast on those days. So it's part of the hospitality and the feasting, the fellowship and the community that I've designed this way to really experience what the church is. So you're not just listening to, And then there's other areas. It's kind of hard. I'd say we had a really great kind of community and kind of fellowship stuff at the conference in Florida.
Yes, that was a lot of fun.
But this is a lot different. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
there's
No,
so many
this
other
is a real
events.
retreat. This is more of a retreat than just a conference.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. And people meet each other, and there's even been several kind of marriages from people meeting. So if
Ooh.
you're looking for a wholesome spouse, what a great place. People come from all over the country and the world. Canadians, we had Swedish people last year. I think there's somebody coming from Ukraine. Um, and so what a great opportunity to like meet and get to know people and talk, just the friendships that are formed, and it's life transforming. People walk away. Well, it's like Father Turbo said, the first time I had brought him up, he said, Deacon, I didn't want to say that you were exaggerating, but I thought you were. And he's like, it doesn't even come close to the words you said. I'm like, I know, you got to come taste
Yeah.
and see what this experience really is like.
Right. No, it's so much fun. I mean, we spend so much time chatting and meeting people. As you said, I've met so many friends every year. I've met new people, and build relationships that last. I mean, this year, my godson, I'm excited. Dr. Michael Mohler's supposed to be there. Haven't seen him in person in a few years. It's, geez, last time I saw him in person was in California. Actually, the last time may have been when we were. It may have been
My wrist.
yeah, when you try to
Skimboard.
skimboard on the beach there. Yeah,
That
in
was
Laguna
awesome.
Beach.
That was epic.
That was amazing. For those of you who don't know, Father Deacon can surf, and he thought his surfing skills would translate to skimboarding, as we saw a bunch of young men
And
enthusiastically.
I only thought that after having a couple of drinks.
Yeah,
Couple.
we had Michael Mohler was so kind to treat us to a open, unlimited mimosa that morning as a breakfast there at one of the restaurants there on
Yeah, that
top
was
of Laguna
cool.
Beach, and it was such a beautiful day. It was like the perfect day. That was a great experience, but I think
It
that was the
almost
last
makes
time.
it seem like California. I have this happen to me every time because I got back. When was that? I went back last month for my parents' 50-year wedding anniversary for a couple days.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of a surprise visit. And of course, I contact my godson from St. Barnabas. I'm like, we're going surfing, right? Because every time I go, I'm like, I gotta surf, right? And it's just so beautiful sometimes at the beach. And it's so relaxing that you're like, oh, maybe this isn't that bad of a place until you get on the freeway or
Oh no, yeah. You go into a major city.
a major city and you're like,
No,
yeah,
the
this is
natural
exact.
beauty. Like if you guys have never been to Yosemite, go to Yosemite. That's an incredible park. I've been there twice, and
amazing.
one time was when it was snowing, which is very rare, and so everything was snow covered. They're having like basically a snowstorm that day, and when we got down into Yosemite, the sky finally opened up. It was gorgeous. But no, you can't beat California's natural beauty at all. It's got to be
Beautiful.
the
And
most
here's
beautiful
the
state.
downside, though, is um, when we went to the beach, it was obviously a Saturday. It was a huge swell came in, but I still got it in me. Like I was pretty out of upper body, out of shape, but I made it out. It was just really hard to catch some waves, but the waves I caught, like I ripped. Like I was like, thank you that I haven't lost my style and my skills. But there were so many people because it was a Saturday. And I don't remember if it was a holiday coming up or something like that. But there was this unreal feeling of, and this is going to tie into the whole kind of conversation of nature and stuff like that. That
Yep.
I'm looking at all these people and I'm like, that's actually a real human being with a real family and a real job. And why does it feel unreal? It's because you're more connected spatially and geographically, right? And more disconnected than ever. Technology does this too. It makes it easier to be connected, and in doing so, you're more disconnected. And so you know nothing about, I mean, there's thousands and thousands of people at the beach living their own lives, total separate lives. You don't know who they are. And the thing that I noticed on this last trip, nobody looks each other in the eyes or the face.
I noticed that generally in California. The
Yeah.
Midwest is very different. Everybody asks you how you're
Midwest is
doing,
different.
like random strangers. I mean, you get that same vibe in Montana as well. And
Yeah, exactly.
Montana, I mean, speaking of nature, I mean, that's what we're trying to make, not just the conference theme being orthodoxy and nature, but Jenny and I really want to make it an experience for us. So
Absolutely.
traveling through the Rockies, I haven't even booked a hotel room. We have a rental car that we pick up in the morning, the 27th of May in Denver, and
She
we're
got a
just going to
van,
decide
man.
where we want to go. We have
We got one of those vans and just sleep in the van.
we got a full size SUV, but I got to have space for my books to bring up to Montanika to sell some books.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm excited, and Montana is so beautiful.
I know
being
a lot
able
of
to
people are
spend a
going to
day
be
at
doing
Yellowstone.
that. They're taking some days after the conference too. I think some people are going to go up to Glacier. If you haven't been to Glacier, I haven't been since I've been up here. I went when I was a kid. I just I couldn't believe how huge and otherworldly it feels.
Really, I've heard a few people recommended going to Glacial National Park.
Yeah,
Glacier National Park.
I actually think it's better than Yellowstone, because I've been to Yellowstone.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's
because what is it? 3 hours north of Butte?
Yeah, it's only like 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Only 3 hours, dude. I'm going to be driving so much that another 3 hours will feel like another day. But I've been recommended by multiple people. They say if you're going to be in Montana around there, go to Glacier National Park. That it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
So we may have to do that. But also, just to cover who's all speaking at the event, John Heers. One of the things I'm looking forward to is John Heers is going to be holding one of the Georgian Supras. And we did that in Florida, and we did a very minor version the year that I also spoke when John Heers was there. It was very impromptu. It wasn't a real Georgian Supra, but we did a real one in Florida. Cleve was there, Cleve de Antiquity,
Yeah,
Ben.
that was awesome.
Father Deacon, his wife, me and my wife, Jay and Jamie were there. Father Vladimir was there, him and his wife, and a handful of other people. And John led it, and it was just an incredible experience. Next thing you know, like 4 hours went by.
And I saw that Mano from Study of Things, remember, he was there, and you can find this on Instagram, my Instagram, Norwegian News, and then his Study of Things. He recorded Neil and I, remember playing guitar and mando.
Yep.
And doing a little impromptu, music and stuff like that. He also, I really can't wait till he uploads the Irish song. That was another impromptu. It just came to me. The Parting Glass.
The Parting Glass.
Yeah, at the end of the night, and it was like the perfect song to end the night, and just what the Georgian Supra was all about. And so, I took Neil and his wife into the kitchen. We just kind of rehearsed real quick. I mean, they're fabulous musicians. And by the way, they're going to be up here. Neil is going to be the MC.
Oh, is he? Oh, I didn't know they're going to be there. Oh, awesome.
And they're playing, the Dirt Poor Robins are playing Saturday night. So we have two professional bands. We have our usual
Montana Bluegrass.
Yeah, Friday night. And then Saturday night's going to close off with Neil's band, the Dirt Poor Robins. So,
that'd be cool.
The conference gets better and better each year.
It really does.
And so, anyways, Mano had recorded that. I think he's going to upload the Neil and his wife and I singing The Parting Glass. So just to pump all of you up on what kind of music. And that's really important too, that people ask me, why don't you do Montanika in our city? I'm like, because it's not Montana, first of all. Hey, like we can do conferences and stuff like that, but this is the Montana experience. It's not just because I live here. I chose of my own free will, because I'm not an occasionalist, to come here. I picked out all the places that, like, I've always wanted to live in Montana. It's been on the top of my list ever since my grandfather took me here. And that was really important, these kind of formative experiences of, fishing and being out in nature, that I was like, this place is incredible. And
it is.
It did something to me, and it remained in my conscience my whole life until, I just couldn't actualize it until God's right timing, his kairos,
Right.
that things lined up where it's like, I'm moving here. And I ended up I didn't even realize if I told you this, when I moved from Ireland, I had to apply for all these jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So scary, right? Like, I just wanted to stay in the university forever. Don't throw me in the workforce.
Peter Pan, not wanting to grow up.
Yeah, I was like, and then I'm like, well, I've maxed out on the degrees. That's called the terminal degree. I'm like, I can't go any further.
Yeah, you just go back and get another PhD in another subject.
Yeah, I'm like, I had to go back into the world, and I'd lived in Ireland for 7 years, totally acclimated to the United States before. I'm like, I gotta start over. Like, what state do I move in, and blah blah blah. And I thought, Montana is that's where I want to be. And what kind of college? I'm like, like a small liberal arts college. I don't think I ever wanted to be at a big research university.
No.
I like liberal arts colleges. I obviously got my bachelor's in one of the best liberal arts colleges, so that was kind of my idea. And but I applied everywhere. I was having to go to the APA, which is the biggest philosophy kind of conference and convention where they do interviews. But I didn't realize this until about 4 or 5 years ago. I was looking up some old emails, and I was trying to pull up some stuff from grad school, some articles or something like that. And I saw, right at like 2011, 2012, all my job applications. I was like, oh, whoa, weird. I remember. It throws you back. It's like when you find old photos.
Yeah.
It throws you back into the sentimentality, and like, you remember what life was like back there. You're like, oh man, the anxiety of. And all of a sudden, I see this application to Carroll College. And I was like, whoa, I forgot. Like, that was my top choice. I'm like, here it is, a liberal arts college in Montana. And it took me 8 years to get my dream. So talking about that kind of right timing. And so I chose this place for a reason. Like, I'm blessed to be where I've always wanted to be. And being Orthodox, I knew that there was something, really conducive to the Orthodox ethos with the large expanse of land, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know this. You get this feeling there's something, I don't know if Father Peter's talked about this, but like unnatural about cities.
Yes.
It's artificial, right? Like, it's, why is it that even Christ himself retreats into the wilderness? Why do the monks, there's something about the large expanse of nature where all the noise and distractions, Blaise Pascal says, if it wasn't for all these distractions, there'd be something, nothing would be more clear and evident than the existence of God. But that's what you get when you go to the river, when you go to the mountains, and you get away from the noise of modernity and technology. You hear the still voice of God in the river, in the mountains, in the breeze, in the leaves, because his divine energies are there. And you've basically cleaned your nous of, you've emptied yourself of all the logos moi and the noises. And that's why Orthodoxy thrives in places like that.
Right.
That's why we have a monastery here. And so I knew initially building this conference, I'm like, this is it. This is the place. That doesn't mean you have to move here, but it gives you a kind of template, right? What does American Orthodoxy look like? Nobody really kind of knows. We can't certainly, like the secular world,
Online arguing about theology, isn't it?
What's that?
Online arguing about theology.
Yeah, that's what anybody that knows anything knows that.
That's what we do.
But we don't have the secular mindset of like city planners, like we plan. Right. And I remember Bishop Maximin had asked me this, I don't remember if it was last year or the first year that he came, Deacon Ananias, what is this conference about? Like, what's your idea? And I asked His Grace, can you give me a little bit? Because I just don't want to I want to be able to think about that. I don't want to just run off and answer, you know what I mean? And what I did is I just walked around the conference because I didn't even know. Or there was something intuitive that I was doing that I kind of knew what I was doing. But as far as formulating an answer, a synopsis of what Montanika is about, I didn't really have that down. And so what I did is I just walked and I looked. I looked at all the people. I looked at the speakers. I saw their faces. I saw their smiles, the children running around. And I'm like, I've got it. I told them, no offense, Your Grace, the question's wrong. I'm not doing anything. I'm just keeping what Orthodoxy's always kept. Trinitarian, incarnational, communal. We do the services, we do the fellowship. Hospitality is a huge deal. The easy part of the conference is I just bring people together and we do Orthodoxy. The Holy Spirit is doing it. That's why, when people would come up to you and be like, that was great. Did you guys all conspire ahead of time with the papers and how they worked? I'm like, nope.
No,
not at all. They all were synergistically working upon. I'm like, that's the Holy Spirit.
Right.
I just have to get out of the way, really. Just do what Orthodox have always done. It is this place. It is this sort of hospitality and nature, right? That it makes it so easy for the Holy Spirit to actually work in our lives and speak to us when we do a conference. And there's always a new message. The Holy Spirit wants to tell you something, right? Wants to show you something about your fellow friends and people that you meet. Anyways, that ties into, that's why, one of the readers, I'll give credit to him, Reader Lazar, had initially proposed this because he was reading Dimitri Staniloy's, this is what I'm writing my talk on. He's like, have you thought about the topic of nature as a theme? I'm like, I don't even need to think about it. I'm like, that's exactly the theme for this year.
Yeah.
And then I go to Father Russell. He's like, that's exactly the theme. The only time, remember, like in the Bible, it says Christ marveled. There's only one place.
Yeah.
At the Centurion. There's only one place I've ever seen Bishop Maxim marvel. Last year at Dcn Days, I told him the theme. He literally shouted out and gave me a high five, a bishop. He's like, yes! I'm like, that's right. See what I mean? It's so clear that the Holy Spirit, through our dear reader, gave him this idea. And as soon as we heard it seemed good to us and the Holy Spirit.
Right. Well, I mean, let's get into a little bit about how Orthodoxy views nature, because I think that's one of the elements in which I think Orthodoxy appeals to the American soul. So when we think of the Wild West and we think of the frontier and we think of the mountain men of old or Appalachia, America has always been associated with nature, John Muir and the whole National Forest project about this preservation of nature, about the concept of stewardship. Now, obviously, we're an Enlightenment Protestant nation, but Orthodoxy is a paradigm in which believes that nature and matter have already been sanctified through the incarnation. And we're not pantheist, But orthodoxy is panentheistic. For those of you who don't know the difference, pantheism is stating that creation is God. Panentheism is stating that God is separate from creation but infuses himself into creation, a la the uncreated energies, a la the project of theosis that all of us are on a journey towards. And so orthodoxy views nature as something dynamic, and in a sense, it's reflective of who we are. One, in the sense of how beautiful it is. I mean, I love driving through Montana. The drive from Bozeman to Butte is a beautiful drive. But the beauty of nature, being awestruck by beauty, which God himself has created, but at the same time, it's reflective of our fall. I mean, you can watch nature and see the brutality, see the survival element, see the animalistic bestiality of the fallen world. And so in a very full sense, nature is reflective of our entire spiritual journey, both the beauty that's innate within us and the potentiality of a bestial existence due to the fall itself and the introduction of sin and death. So when we talk about nature, nature truly is a point. And you were talking about the mountains and stuff, but look at Christ. Where's the transfiguration take place? On Mount Tabor. And throughout Scripture, we talked about the Ark of the Covenant in Mount Nebo. Where did we believe in Second Maccabees that the prophet Jeremiah hid the ark? Mount Sinai, the revelation of the Ten Commandments and the burning bush. Nature, place is really important. And part of the modern man is that he's uprooted. He has no place.
Yeah.
He has no identity. And historically, our identities come from the places we're from. You know, if you're from the deserts of Saudi Arabia, that's part of who you are. If you're from, the mountains of Romania or wherever it may be, the plains of Ukraine, the nature and the places in which we live in are part of who we are. And I think modern Americans, because we move so much, right? This is a phenomenon that's very much unique to us, that I forget what the percentage is, but it's like the highest in the world for people to be born in one state and then move and go live as an adult or raise a family in a different place. Historically and still today in most places that doesn't occur. That's not what people do. They tend to stay where they're born. Where we as Americans, we're constantly moving. We have this identity where we're constantly building it, constructing it, and we go on, in a sense, Americans are obsessed with their own hero's journey. And that's part of that, I think, transmigration of people. But America is also ripe for a theology that actually venerates and has a place for nature. I mean, Protestantism, I would say in general, doesn't have the mystical and the venerative perspective that Orthodoxy has towards nature. I mean, for a lot of them, you get a presentation of nature as it's pretty, it's nice, but it's ultimately dead. It's unimportant. For politically, with much of the MAGA, it's like as long as GDP go up, it's good. When the reality is the quality of our lives has to do with the communities we live in, the places we build. So I think this topic for Montanika and a discussion and just looking at the speakers, I mean, everybody from John Heers to, we have a botanist, Tony Baumkamp.
My godson. He's a botanist. I can't wait for you. By the way, let me tell you a little about Tony. This is really cool. You're going to like this. So I was introduced to apologetics when I was 18 years old. And I was told to go to two places, right? Mars Hill, which was Bob and Gretchen Passantino, and they were connected with the Christian Research Institute and Hank Hanegraaff. They actually wrote a lot and worked with Hank Hanegraaff a lot.
Oh, interesting.
They met every Wednesday night, and it was Christian, but like anybody was welcome. So you got all kinds of weird people, and that's really where I learned how to debate. It's where I learned the transcendental argument.
Oh,
they called it the argument from reason. I learned so much. The other group was a little bit more high tier. It was called Dialogue, and it was founded by Russ Mannion. And I started going there around 1996. Tony had been going there prior to me. Perry Robinson was going there. Like, there's all these kind of weird connections. Um, uh, Tony had it held at his house for a long time. Now, after I came back from Ireland and I started attending again, that's when it was being held at Tony's house. Tony was a Protestant at the time, but he went through really interesting. My first experience with Orthodoxy and an Orthodox priest was Father Paul Weissman. That's Father Turbo's spiritual father. And he was at Dialogue. He was at Russ Mannion's thing. So, more and more people were converting to Orthodoxy. Tony ended up converting to Orthodoxy, and he reached out to me because we were close. Would you be my godfather? And he was baptized at the same place your godson. It's St. Barnabas, and now they moved, and they both live in the Boise area. So that's kind of
that's true. Yeah, both of our gods. Did he get baptized at the same?
State Fullerton at the same time as an adjunct, doing some. You can see right there, Cal State University, Cal State Fullerton, and so he's going to bring talking about ecology, nature, wetlands, and the distinction between the West and the East, and how exactly what you said. So you set it up really great. Of all these environmental disasters and these things, he's going to basically argue come from a Western theological and philosophical mindset. So that's my plug for Tony. We got John Here's doing hospitality. We got Dr. David Patrick Harry, my dear friend and colleague, Professor Bruce Seraphim Foltz. He is one of the best philosophers out there. I've been with him at international conferences in Romania and Greece, all throughout the country, and I've known him for a very long time. And he's the Orthodox professor par excellence on environment, nature. He's a great Heideggerian scholar as well.
Oh, interesting.
So great to have him. Who can I go up? Let's see. Yeah, we already know that goof is. Protodeacon Patrick. I've been wanting to get him up here forever. We've also been been working together. He's also published articles on patristic faith. We've been to multiple conferences throughout the country and throughout the world together. He is our guy when it comes to pushing him back against the Fordham crew and the women's ordination, female diaconate. He has published several books on that. So he's going to speak about the nature and distinctions the real distinctions between male and female. And of course, Metropolitan Jonah.
Yes, and Metropolitan Jonah, who I've been fortunate to do at least 3 events with Metropolitan Jonah. And I remember the first one was the time that Abbot Trifon was a speaker at Montanika, who I hope he is doing well. I know he's been struggling with some health problems. So keep Abbot Trifon in your prayers.
Yes.
So it's a wide range of speakers, and it's going to be hitting on a wide variety of topics. I assume my speech, which is going to be talking about the synthetic world versus the God-created world, the natural world, and speaking about transhumanism and many of the ills of the contemporary world. Part of which I was talking with Father Deacon about how does the West get to the place in which it views nature as a extractable resource, as a mechanism. And it has to do with things that we've already done streams on regarding the history of metaphysics, the history of philosophy. And, even after the Great Schism during the medieval period, nature still played a central role and was viewed from a theological perspective in the West. But with the rise of Descartes, and you get this rationalism and a mechanizing of nature in which it is essentially a machine that can be studied and understood. You get Francis Bacon wanting to rape the secrets out of nature because for them, the millenarian goal of man is to know all things about nature so that he can construct the new Jerusalem, the utopia. And it's the same worldview that the transhumanists have today. But we take for granted how much that's influenced us as Westerners, how we view nature as something mute, right? And we're not talking about paganism, where the oak tree is the great grandfather spirit, but nature is alive. Orthodoxy believes it's a living, dynamic entity. In the West, is nature alive, or is it just sort of biological patterns playing themselves out in predictable ways? There's no real sentience there, and we're not equating nature to the role of man, but Orthodoxy calls us to be the priest of creation. And a priest is doing the liturgy, the work of the people on behalf of them in relationship to God. So our relationship to nature is to reorient it back towards God. I did a stream with Christopher Zimbersky, a friend of mine, and he is a designer and architect of gardens. And we talked about how when you look at the biblical narrative, what is a garden? A garden is something that man willfully constructs, and he takes nature and he builds upon the aesthetic and the beauty of it. And we fall in the Garden of Eden. Christ laments the crucifixion in the Garden of Gethsemane, and history revolves itself, in a sense, the Garden of the New Jerusalem. And so it's funny how we see, even in the biblical narrative, man's role as the steward of creation and the redemptive arc already present in Scripture itself.
I'm going to read you something. I call it the secularization of nature because etymologically, if you look at secular is this kind of like stripping away, right?
Right.
Now, you're absolutely right to point out this begins with Descartes.
Yeah.
Then the
That's where
Enlightenment.
I would point it. Yeah.
And there's this radical change in the way we view both ourselves and nature.
Yes.
And our relation to it. And also, it's no coincidence, at the same time, there's this rejection of the Christian tradition, because part of that, right, is our understanding of who we are, as you said, like priests. Demetrius Stanley says, all of nature is for man, not the other way around, like the environmental warriors want to say. He says, nature is called to be entirely humanized. And I'll be arguing in my paper divinized, and how this is so different than Protestantism. But you're right to point out modernity mechanizes nature, starting with Descartes, abolishes any real objective essences in the world, and then creates the world in man's own image, according to man's idea. So as you'd rightly pointed out, modern man now views nature as something to be manipulated and exploited, like reserves that I can do whatever I want. He's no longer sees himself as a creature of the earth.
No. Well, he refers to animals, if I'm not wrong, as automaton, as soulless entities, is how Descartes describes animals.
Philip Sherrard says that modern man, shaped out of the earth and returning to his whole inner being, nourished, and man no longer sees himself as nourished and enriched by his organic contact with nature, and with the breath of the Spirit had fashioned him as nature's master work. And Saint Demetrius Stanley says that, quoting Saint Maximus, man is the macrocosm. You can't separate, right? So it's no surprise that Descartes' a dual, there's a separation, right?
Right.
Now,
with that perspective, we view nature as theanthropic, right? You just talked about how nature is for man, referring to Stanilow. It's theanthropic. Yeah. It's divine relationship to God, but it's also very human.
And notice it's a symbolic cosmos. And symbios means what?
Do you have to give royalties to Paggio for that one?
No.
The symbolic world?
Well, I didn't use world. I'm not getting copyrighted by Paggio. I said cosmos. But yeah, I mean, similar thing, that symbiosis to bring two things together. But what does modern man do? Descartes literally separates it out into two
Right.
like it's divided. It's
Right. And so what Father Deacon's talking about, for those who are trying to follow, Descartes separates the mind of man from matter itself, creating a dialectic between these two things and their intention. Now, this is going to lead to, again, once rationalism, and Descartes sets the motion of rationalism, and Francis Bacon sets the motion of empiricism, we have these two competing philosophical projects that essentially meet in Kant. Kant is addressing both of them, and what he's saying is that the exterior world is not totally knowable. You cannot know the thing in and of itself. It's synthetically being meshed between your a priori categories, and it's from there that we make sense of experience. And because Western philosophy took that trajectory, now it separates the knowability in our relationship to nature entirely, where you get the romantics on the other end of Kant trying to revalorize nature in some poetic way that is emotive, and it's about emotions and experience. But from Descartes forward, the West is on this trajectory, which, yes, at points, like the Romantics, tried to resubstantiate some venerative spirit within nature, but the trajectory is one in which it is dehumanizing man. I mean, this is the whole point of the Orthodox Survival Course. We just covered chapter 12 last night in the Logos Academy. The whole Orthodox Survival Course is Father Seraphim showing at every point from the schism forward where the West is going wrong. And once we get into the 19th century, the 1800s, man is a machine, man is an automaton, which Descartes didn't go there. He was talking about animals, but you see how the presuppositions, the categories, all of it began to influence everything that is natural. And for Bacon, knowledge was associated with doing things, building something, the engineer. And we still live in that world, that technologized.
We live in the vomit
of modernity. And it's so difficult for people to see the strings of modernity and how they truly do alter your perception of the world unless you become conscious of them.
Think about the ancient world. It was enchanted, right?
Yes.
And I talked about this in the theology, the icon, that modern man, and I was quoting Bishop Jovan of Serbia, has worked so hard to disenchant himself from, of the enchanted world so that he may have a scientific view, right? A rational, enlightened view. And he's worked really hard to actually do that. But in doing so, the cosmos is no longer seen as a divine order.
Right.
But a man-made system is exactly
well, with deism, it's already divorced from God. Once we get into 17th century, 18th century deism, where God is essentially a clockmaker, and he's winded up the wheels of nature, and it's just in motion, and it's for us, man, to finish the project of creation. Well, once God's gone, there is no ultimate authority to the universe itself, to nature itself. Again, how can you be a priest of creation if there's nothing beyond you? We mentioned about transcendental veneration and what is religion earlier. This was before the stream. This was backstage. Yeah. Sorry, guys, you don't have access to that.
You had to be there.
But you see, the Western world, what does the West appeal to? It doesn't appeal anything. And I think that is fully submitted after World War II. After World War II, nature is just a way in which you become, you can attain an ecstatic experience. It's something pretty. There really is no deeper reason for why you should engage with nature other than maybe it gives you pleasure. I mean, that's why after World War II is where we get the counterculture, we get the relativism, we get postmodernism, all of these things. The counterculture is indicative of the fact that in the recognition of what happened in World War II, in the recognition that modernity is not succeeding, you have JFK assassination in 1963. All of this just the energy creates a totally new world in which the remnant of the old Christianity, the old Protestant America, isn't there. And that's why it reinvents itself in the 80s and 90s with televangelical pastors telling you to send in money at 11 o'clock at night because that's how you're going to receive your blessings. And so we really are entities, and this is the whole world, but certainly Americans, entities that are totally divorced from the natural context in which we exist. And I've talked about even before the atrophying of technology is most people can't memorize places that they go to, how to get from one place to another without using Apple Maps or Google Maps. I showed an article on one stream years ago about kids in middle school are unable to read analog clocks, so they have installed all digital clocks so that the kids can read time.
Have you seen the one with the rotary phones? They don't know how to.
Rotary phones were going out when I was a kid. Those are real old. But anyways, my ultimate point to sum it all up is that nature from the Western perspective is a utility. That this is what Max Weber talked about, the disenchantment. You mentioned about the enchantment of the ancient world. What Max Weber, the German sociologist, again at the turn of the 19th into the 20th century, he talked about the disenchantment of the world, that rationalism and scientism of the Enlightenment has left no place for mystery. And mystery was typically found in the natural world. And because the mystery is gone, people are essentially going to lead towards what Nietzsche called nihilism. That's the only endpoint for them. Now, I would argue that the counterculture and paganism and even like the trans furry stuff, this is a way for people to re-enchant a world that's been disenchanted by modernity. Now, they don't have the ability to put their finger on the thing that they're reacting or responding to, but that is what I view the phenomenon that's occurring right now, is that everybody, through the postmodern lens that you have your own truth, is trying to reconstruct something that's enchanted in their life. Unfortunately, for some people, that means dressing up as a dog and walking on all fours with a leash around their neck.
Did you see that? I just so funny. I did that.
You did that?
The big fat lady, like identifying as a dog, and she was barking, and a dog attacked her, and she's like, ah! It's like, this is what happens.
And, well, do you have anything more to say? I was going to say that another point of Western philosophy is those that do venerate nature, like the John Muirs of the world or the Emersons, many of these transcendentals adopted a precept out of German idealism where that the human mind is indicative of nature. And that therefore going into nature and experiencing the stillness that Father was talking about, Father Deacon, that it situates nature into this grand metaphysic that's entrapped within the mental idealism of their philosophy. And you still see people that kind of have this precept. And so the West has totally lost the understanding of man as priest, man being part of the natural world being good, the natural world participating in the same theanthropic process that we are participating in regarding theosis, and that nature isn't something to worship, but it is venerative, and it is our duty, being made in the image of God, to elevate it back to God.
Just like I talked last, was it last year? What did I even? There's so many, because 6 years I kept mixing up all my papers. I'm like, what did I actually talk on? The theology of the icon, whatever year that was. St. Maximus, the confessor, says all of nature is an icon. Do we worship icons? No, we venerate them. So you can see iconography connected to nature, which would have been a great paper itself. Because why? The divine energies in the prototype, God, are in the same way St. Maximus says that the image is impressed on the mirror, right? But the prototype is not the image on the mirror, but there's a presence in there, right?
Right.
Anyways, the West doesn't have that because of this stripping, this secularization this mechanization,
Right.
everything becomes an instrumentalized view of the human being and nature, right?
Yep.
Here's a great quote, another great quote from Philip Sherrard about this. In this world, the secularized, modern, mechanized world, the world of artificial environment. Now, notice too, this goes hand in hand with the state. What do all the Enlighteners think the social contract is, and the polis? Artificial.
Right. Well, to your point, and to a point I was making earlier about how nature is a utility. Now, not just mean natural resources, I mean for people's pleasure. And that if you can be uploaded into a synthetic simulacrum of nature, what is ultimately the difference?
Yeah.
If you experience the same, then who cares about whether it's in a world filled with code or you're actually out in the natural environment? And in fact, many people that are in favor of, the singularity and transhumanism would say, well, if you go out into the natural environment, there's a chance you may die. You may get hurt, something bad, but we can protect you. You can get all the benefits of nature within a simulation of it. And for so many people, they're going to fall victim to that. And it's like when you think of space and time, when I'm out in nature, you spend, and I'm sure everyone watching this stream and yourself included, there is a mysticism. There is a weird occurrence, providence, things strangely emerge. I think going out in nature for an extended period of time is a sober psychedelic trip. And,
Great way to put it.
and the difference, you compare that to being in a city, a man-made city. You're hearing sirens all over the place. Everybody's trying to get from one place to another. You see, the casuistry of nature is still something mystical, but the casuistry of the cities, the man-made world, is something that is entrapping us. It is the prison planet. And I don't mean that in a strict dialectic that if you're in the city, you're in Satan's playpen. But I mean, there is something important about cities. Christianity was important. That's where, Christianity spread through cities. So I don't mean to take it too deep, but you see my general principle is that you look at America, see the grid of a city. And unlike some of the ancient cities or even medieval cities in Germany or Europe, which are based on the human person walking, you see how the city, the way you traverse the city is on foot. You experience the buildings, you see the architecture, you see plaques of history related to it. In America, we drive. Now, part of it is just through how damn big the country is and how big our cities are. But notice that our cities are not even made for people, per se. It's made for mass transportation, a moving of goods, a moving of services. That's the point of the cities. And I've highlighted before, I mean, back in the medieval period, the tallest building in the city was always the church, indicative of what we worship, the closest thing to heaven. But what do we worship now? Every major city, the tallest buildings are banks.
Banks, yeah. That's a great point. Wow.
Man,
Let me finish up this quote by Sherrard because you're going to love it. In this world.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that was a great, you should have. We needed, that was the most amazing point. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, maybe in general ways, but that's specific. That is a point, is what I want to say. But Sherrard says that this world of artificial environment, this sophisticated manipulation of machines and techniques, the human element is gradually being eliminated. What this world represents is a new type of order, which is exactly Baconian, a new inorganic order. You brought up, the virtual world and chips, and one not created by God, but invented by man, one that is, in fact, precisely an externalization of man's desire to make his own world without God. How beautiful is that quote?
That is beautiful. Sherrard's a great writer.
Isn't he great?
Yeah.
And so man loses himself. If man finds so St. Demetrius Standard says, not only does nature, the lower orders, find their meaning in man. Now notice how this is so different than, let's look at Darren Aronofsky's stupid movie, Noah. Man is like a parasite, right? which is the same thing that the demonic aliens say, right?
Right.
They got to save the world, and man has to be eliminated.
We're going to blow up the universe with nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
They got to come and rescue us. But
No,
for some
there
reason, they
is
keep
no
doing butt
meaning.
stuff every time they try to rescue us.
My students ask me that. They're like, you guys believe that like aliens are demons? I'm like, yeah, look what they're saying what they do, right? Who else does that kind of stuff? But like, you see my students' faces are like, well, I don't mean to be crude, but like they are crude and they're demons.
Yeah.
So, I mean, without man, the animal, biological, and inorganic life has literally no meaning.
Right.
This is what St. Demetrius Staniloy says. And man finds his meaning, right, is the crown of creation in nature. So that there's this ascetical work, right? He's not isolated. Why? Because man as a whole is a macrocosm of the entire world. So he can't be separated. But this is exactly what modernity does, right?
Right.
So if your identity is in nature and creation, to separate it, to mechanize, why do you think man loses his self? And I ask my students this: why are we what was it? Tuesday's class. Why are suicide rates and PTSD and mental illness higher than ever? Now, a student, I think she's a vet too. Like, she was just wrong. I don't know why she said this. She says it's not. We just
tell us her name so we can shame her.
Yeah, exactly. Pull her up. I'm gonna pull her grades up right now, and we're gonna go over why she says the stuff that she says. She's actually really smart.
I'm sure she's pre-vet.
Well, what's funny too, like, she just ripped this other student apart on COVID. Like, she was like, "Yeah, it's a total scam," and and one of the students like, "Yeah, but what about all the freezers? Was that a scam too?" She's like, "Absolutely."
So what did she say that you couldn't believe she said?
She said, "No, the suicide rates and PTSD in other times was equal to, we just didn't have as well reporting." I'm like, there's no way. Like, that's
No. There was not voluntary suicide.
Like, I rarely say that to my students. No, you're wrong.
No. The
But
peasants
that one, I
in the
was like,
medieval period didn't kill themselves to the level that people are now, and they had a much tougher life.
and I said, here's why. What do they call moral trauma, right? When you experience war and death. I've talked about this. This was the last conference when I was doing Dr. Timothy Patisse's Ethics of Beauty, that you're excommunicated, right? Mm-hmm. You're losing yourself. And he says the opposite of war is not peace, it's liturgy. You have to be recommuned and reconstituted. So I told the class this on Tuesday. I'm like, reconstituted into what? Look at the society. They're losing themselves. They're unraveling. And we bring them back into what? A polypharmacy, fragmented, disunited, mechanized, dehumanized, de-enchanted, teleological world. Of course, right. They're killing themselves.
Right. Even the attempt to solve psychological problems through chemicals, right? And then every pill. I mean, my gosh, you watch a pharmaceutical commercial and they're like, "This will help ease your depression." Side effects include suicide, diarrhea, cancer. Immediate death,
homicidal ideation. Like, every time my wife and I laugh at it, I'm like, can you believe, like, why would you ever take this?
I know. It's like, you have toenail fungus?
Because it's legalized. Isn't that funny if you're like, hey, man, this heroin or fentanyl, here's the side effects. People die from this. You'd be like, I'm not taking that. Here's a line of cocaine. Well, people can have a heart attack. Like, you wouldn't take it. But if it's legalized, and they literally tell you everything, people are like, well, sure. It's like, oh my gosh, look at the side effects. That's amazing.
But again, the mechanism that we treat people, they have this is the whole thing about, disease is disease. Now, I'm not getting into that whole etymology or wordplay, but the idea, this is what naturopathic medicine's about. This is what the history of medicine is about. is healing the human body. You know, one of the things that is striking is if you looked at a hospital at the beginning of the 20th century in the United States or across Europe, they would have a massive sun deck where patients during the day would go and sit out in the sun because they believed that fresh air and sun aided the healing process. They would, you know, here in America, pastors and Catholic priests would come and visit the people in the hospital regularly. Just the ways in which they try to heal, being in an isolated room under artificial light, they would avoid. Again, there's medical books. I saw a video online. Somebody found their father died, unfortunately, and he left a book that he was given by his father. And the book was about how to treat illnesses. And it was like 100 years old or something. Here, it was an American book. And it talked about all these natural remedies to all these different things. And the big one was prayer, like your spiritual purity, and then engagement with nature, fresh air, sunlight, health, good water, stuff. I mean, basic stuff that we know. But you look at the world now. You go into the hospital, they want you to heal, and you're under artificial light. You're locked in a room. You have, you know, air conditioning. Yeah. Like you hardly even get exposure to natural air and sun. And it's like this demonic system is actually preventing us from engaging with natural remedies. I looked into it because when I did a stream on the Crusades, watching documentaries, one of the things that stunned me was like how fast people would heal from battle. There was an old man that got stabbed in battle. He was like almost 70 years old. This is during the Crusades. And he was on horseback. He was injured, and he was able to muster strength after just a couple weeks to go fight another battle. And I'm thinking, my gosh, I don't know any 69-year-old man that could get stabbed with a sword and within a couple weeks go fight in battle again. Like, how did these guys heal so fast? And the Crusader diet was mostly meat, all natural foods, you know, vegetables, berries. Obviously, they didn't have synthetic, you know, GMO food back then. Yeah. But you think about the food that we used to put in our body, and that I wonder if the human body actually can heal itself to such a greater degree if you put it in the right conditions, and that modern medicine actually prevents those conditions to occur, so that the only remedy is synthetic forms through pills, through pharmaceuticals, through surgery.
And what's so crazy, you know, God bless my students, but like, they've been brainwashed, especially if they're in nursing or STEM, any of the STEM stuff. Like, they really believe in this science op, right? Where they were like, no, you know, it was just awful back then. And like, we hear, like, they would not even be able to process what you just said. They really blindly believe in this modern polypharmacy cronyism with bankers and pharmaceutical companies and Sackler families and stuff like that.
Yep.
That it's going to heal them. Now notice the inversion. The healer is removed. The healer is present in nature, right, through his divine energies.
Right.
And what
in Orthodox countries, they have icons in front of patients.
Yes. Here, God is removed. There's a deicide, as Nietzsche said. And man erects his own healer. Techne, right? And the technocrats and the medicine. And they're going to look at Fauci. He was going to die for all of our sins and save everybody and raise everybody from the dead. Wasn't that basically what we were being told?
Yeah, exactly. And it was, I mean, I experienced it myself. It was just so stark and shocking how anybody related to the medical field or anybody with a college degree seemed to be like, we have to get the vax.
Oh, they're the worst.
Right? I mean, it was the inability to actually assess like natural immunity. Remember how that was a conspiracy theory for like a year and a half? There's no such thing as natural immunity. It's like part of what we need to do, and part of what Orthodoxy, I think, reorients the soul towards is natural healing, true healing. Christ is the physician of souls. And really the sickness of the West is a sickness of the soul. We have all the materials that we would need. Now, obviously, our environments, like here in America, it's been toxified, but we could do something about that. But we need to be reoriented back to our natural existence and natural living. That's why the homestead fad, which is, I don't know if it's a fad, but it's so popular right now, and even myself included, that is the ideal. I'm not in a position where I could own a homestead, but being able to be self-sufficient, we realize that the game that was played, that we gave up our self-sufficiency for comfort, was really a trap the whole time. It's the rat utopia experiment, right? You're given everything you need, but in exchange, you actually end up killing yourself. What's the rats do in the rat utopia experiment? They have massive amounts of sex. They kill the children. They kill the babies. Some can become homosexual rats, and then they all end up dying. It's like, oh, so really responsibility, natural living, engaging in nature, being self-sufficient, creating an anti-fragile life. That was the whole point the whole time. And history sort of migrated people, especially once the Industrial Revolution hit, migrated all these people, these peasants and these farmers that lived in a natural setting with nature, brought them to the cities and forced them to become essentially slaves, wage slaves. And that system has been growing ever since. But they pulled the rug out under us with NAFTA and some of the trade deals in the late 70s and 80s, where now you don't even have the reassurance of a factory job, right? Even though we just talked about how the wage slave and industrialization and all that different stuff, I bet the majority of Gen Zers would probably prefer to be able to work for General Motors and on one salary, be able to support a family. We don't even have that opportunity. So then the whole promise of the Industrial Revolution, they took the manufacturing out from underneath us and gave it over to China or Thailand or Vietnam, wherever place in Southeast Asia or East Asia they migrated towards. And now the West, it's like, you have no responsibility. And what does that cause? It causes mass chaos and depression. It causes nihilism. People need responsibility.
I like what you said about, too, that the academics were the first ones to fall for all of this. And I'm thinking about Noam Chomsky, his manufacturing consent. You know what he says? There's two groups. He's doing the institutional analysis of propaganda. And he's like, there's two groups, right? There's the workers, basically, the normies. And then there's the academics. He says the academics are the most important to be propagandized because they set the trends, right?
Yes.
For everything. So it's no coincidence that it's like, of course they were the academics are literally the most brainwashed. And I
Absolutely.
know because I work in the college and university.
We can vouch. It's rare to actually come across a free thinker that is working, especially if they're working for a major university. But
and I remember even Aldous Huxley, and with his push of psychedelics and everything, he kind of talked about this too, like when he was asked in an interview, like who should take these substances. He's like academics because they're the most narrow-minded.
Right.
He thought that was a way to kind of, he talked about dissolution of boundaries, but they were so brainwashed and narrow-minded that he thought he got it wrong, but like he was right about that point. Like they're the worst. Yeah. Like they're not the free. They champion themselves as the free thinkers, but they're not.
No,
they're the most narrow-minded and unopen people. While they're telling you preaching openness and free-minded.
They're obsessed with authority and institutions. You see, when you go through to get a PhD, they almost program you to reassert the validity of all the institutions. Whether it's through citations or whatnot, you need to believe in the institutions, the promise of the university.
It's like having an ecumenical council and you have to confirm the previous councils, right? They make you do that.
No, they do. I mean, there is such a social pressure and sometimes a literal academic pressure to steer your research in a certain direction, have certain outcomes, certain topics need to be dealt with kid gloves in certain circumstances. Now, there are great universities out there. There's great professors and scholars, no doubt about that. But in general, what I witnessed is people that have basically an above average IQ and vocabulary becoming propagandized and re-obsessing of their own self-image through the ranks, moving through the ranks of the institution and parroting what it says. And the university will reward you. That is a fact. If you are able to parrot the talking points, and if you're able to publish something and you get enough other scholars to like it, that is the goal.
I can't wait for you guys to meet Dr. Stephen DeLay, who he can tell you about this. So he's got a PhD in philosophy from Oxford. And I'll let him tell the story when you guys meet him. He's coming to the conference.
Oh, great.
And what happened, what they actually tried to do when he didn't toe the line, when he didn't want to go to the secret, PDO society.
Yeah. Eyes wide shut parties.
What's that?
Eyes wide shut parties.
They have that in Oxford. They have kind of skulls and bones.
I'm sure. I mean, my gosh, look at the secret societies, skull and bones and stuff here at Yale and Harvard. Yeah, you don't think they have even more intense versions of that in the old world?
And he started exposing them, and they came after, like, they targeted him. He almost didn't get his PhD. He had to, like, resubmit and do appeals process and stuff like that. So he can tell you what happens when you step out of the Overton window.
Yeah.
And
that's what your goal as a scholar, that's what they train you to be, as someone that reinforces the Overton window through citations, essentially. Being able to write well, present an argument that's logical, or it doesn't sometimes have to be logical, it just needs to be perceived as rational in some way based on whatever presuppositions you have, and reinforce the Overton window, reinforce the narrative. And if you can reinforce it in a unique and novel way, well, then you're a fantastic scholar.
Yep. Let me read another quote here. Mircea Eliade.
Oh yeah, I'm a fan of Eliade.
He's awesome.
He gets a bad rap because people claim that he was a Nazi, but no, I think he's my favorite religious studies scholar.
Yeah,
that's what he is. He had a PhD in what I have a PhD in.
Yeah. He defined modern societies as, quote, those which have pushed the secularization of life and the cosmos far enough. And Bruce, let me quote Bruce Foltz, since he's a speaker. Such a world offers no inner resistance to manipulation and control, presents no grain against which we ought not to cut. In Heidegger's word, it's a world that has become an inventory resource, in German Bestand, for technological control and consumption. Isn't that an amazing quote?
Yeah.
Two quotes there that kind of tie in what we were talking about.
Yeah. We have a few questions.
If you don't like those quotes, we'll just give you medicine.
Yeah, everybody's watching our streams over on Church of the Eternal Logos or Patristic Faith. Smash that like, guys. And if you have any questions for Father Dcn Dr. Ananias or myself, feel free to send those in.
The numbers are going up. That's because mean old Jay Dyer.
Shout out to Physician HTS for becoming a Codal Crew member. This was a question by Unlisted Logos. He was asking you earlier when you were talking about how you always wanted to work at a liberal arts college. He's asking, what's the difference between a liberal art college and a big research university?
Okay, so classes and lecture classes are smaller. At a research university, professors have very little interaction with, they literally just come, give a lecture, and then you have grad students that basically teach
the courses. Yeah, I did that at the University of Illinois. The
Yeah.
professors would give a lecture, and then it's all the grad students that is actually basically your teacher. And then you
Yeah.
go and you break up into courses or classes, and you have a graduate student, and they'll teach like 3 or 4 courses.
And teaching isn't, it isn't an emphasis, like what's emphasizing a research university for a professor is publications. Like, so you're just detached from actual teaching.
Right.
It doesn't, you could be a terrible teacher, actually. It doesn't matter. It's all about kind of this celebrity status.
Well, just to the point, the difference between a college and a university is a college only has undergraduate degrees. A university has graduate degrees. So that's what, if you're wondering, well, what makes one a college and one's a university, it has to do with graduate programs.
Although we have a weird scenario here. I don't know how this works. We never had a grad school program here, so it's called Carroll College. But in the last couple of years, we added a master's in nursing or something like that. So I imagine they're just going to keep college. Also, so primarily that's the case. However, in the old system over in the UK, like Oxford and Cambridge, a university has colleges. Like Belle All Saints College and stuff like that. So they actually have grad, but that's the kind of British system. But like you're right, here it typically means there's grad schools in.
And
anyway, so
go
in
ahead.
liberal arts colleges are smaller.
Yeah.
And there's a closer relationship between the teachers and the students. So there's more emphasis on one-on-one kind of teaching, mentorship, stuff like that. Whereas you're just never going to get that in a university.
Well, and where do they get their revenue? A liberal arts college gets their revenue from the tuition of the students. A big research university gets its revenue through the football team, their sports program. I went to the University of Illinois for my master's degree, and Monsanto basically subsidizes that university. It has the largest ag program, I think one of, if not the, in the country. And of course, they have to do research on Monsanto seeds. So the entire graduate program, the entire ag department is, it's a research university. They have tons of money. They have the greatest equipment, but you can only research GMOs and Monsanto stuff and things like that.
Well, that's part of the cronyism that I've talked about. How colleges are infiltrated and corrupted is you have these big and multi-billionaire, right, like companies and NGOs and different stuff like that basically will take that money and we're going to do an endowment. We're giving this amount of millions of dollars to the college to establish a program, right? Mm-hmm. And then guess what? But there's conditions on it. Okay, so we get to pick the chair picks the professors, and it's just stacked, right?
Yep.
And so one way of kind of propagandizing is through this kind of cronyism between, extremely wealthy financiers and the university. And then guess what? The other FDA, right, and law and why? Because they're all in cahoots with one another, right? So then they publish journal-like articles, right, peer-reviewed, that pushes the product of the person that founded the financiers, right? So that this actually then becomes codified in law, approved by FDA, the other FDA, and that's how it works. And now you're all taking the jabbies and killing yourself. The end.
Yeah. Justin Henley threw in $2 for you and me, says, yay, it's Father Deacon Dr. Ananias and Dr. David Patrick Carey. He said that for both of us. Thank you very much, Justin Henley. God bless you, brother. Hope you're doing well. And Mr. Fist threw in $10, and then, thank you very much, brother, threw in another one and said, I found Descartes at least to be readable. Hume writes like a cough syrup addict, or is this just me being a slow boy? Hume can be difficult. Kant is notoriously difficult to understand because you have to know so many so many other things to contextualize what he's saying. Hegel is incredibly difficult to
Yeah.
understand because he assumes that you've read all of Western civilization.
Yeah.
Descartes, yeah, it's you can understand what his project is and what he's trying to do. I think Hume, though, I always give credit whenever Hume's brought up because he gets bashed, and rightfully so for his worldview. But I always say he's the most consistent skeptic atheist. And if when you debate the regular atheist, if they can't even know or parrot Hume, they can't even parrot the best steel man that they have for their position because at least he was consistent.
Yeah, Descartes' fun to read. Actually, I mean, he's obviously wrong about a lot, but like I told Father Russell didn't know for the longest time my views on philosophers, and he thought I was like a idolizer because that's my career, and he laughed so hard when I was like, "They're wrong, every single one of them."
Yeah. That's
I'm
like
like,
Nietzsche.
"No, maybe some more so than other, and maybe some more right than other." But I'm like, "They're wrong, every single one." I'm like, I don't idolize. I'm not a philosopher where it's like, oh, I'm a Humean and stuff like that. I see the value of studying the history of thought,
Yes,
and I think
intellectual
that the
history.
questions are important and stuff like that. And it's good to have this, think through these great thinkers that influence society on the sort of kind of questions and the depth that they kind of think about that. But like, no, they're not my guys.
Right. And I would say this to even incentivize someone who's interested to read philosophy or some of these philosophers is if you haven't taken or have like some foundation, like an undergraduate course or even a degree in philosophy, it's kind of a murky water to dive into. Philosophy is basically a generational conversation that's been going on since the ancient world, and everybody's been engaging with each other. But here's why you should read it if you're interested, is that it expands the contours of your mind. The first time you're trying to grok, Kant's a priori categories or whatever it may be, or German idealism, you may disagree with it. That's totally fine. Father Deacon and I both do. But to read it and comprehend it literally expands your mental perception, where you can now tackle that topic. And if you were to reread it, you would understand it immediately. And so that it's an arduous journey. At least this is my experience. Maybe you were born with a philosophical mind from the womb, but it's a journey of like really butting up against the limits of your mind. Like you really can't even understand what the heck they're trying to tell you, but you keep going and you understand the bigger picture. You will get it. And
I always recommend a historical approach too.
Yes.
There's some people in the Discord.
Do you have the Coppleton set?
Yeah, I actually have it right under my feet right now. I've run out of room to put all my books.
Well, you need another bookshelf. You need to line the sides now with bookshelves. You'll be like Jay's old closet where it's all books.
Do like what was the MC Escher? I'm gonna do like bookshelves on top, where I just I have to walk in these everything will be a bookshelf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm running out of room. I still got boxes. We're going back to California, I think, in July. And when I was back there, I'm like, there's a bookshelf. There's a bookshelf like this full of my books. Then I went to the garage. There's about 10 boxes full of books and I'm like, there's nowhere to put. We're gonna be like one of those old professors you ever see where they're like, it's just their head. It's like all the books are all stacked up. Right?
I want that. I want that for myself. But anyways, what we were saying is if you want to read a historical approach to philosophy, intellectual history, Copleston's 11-part series is a phenomenal resource. It's something you should keep your whole life.
And I've seen the errors. We got a couple people in our Discord that are in the philosophy chat, and they're all into like modern alternative kind of paraconsistent logics and math. One of the guys I think is I don't know if he's a grad student in math, like it's high level mathematic like logic, right? Stuff that I can read, but like I never studied that level of, and they're making so many errors, right? Well, guess where they started studying philosophy?
The Enlightenment. Descartes.
Yeah, they started with like in modernity, and they were like, "Well, I find metaphysics and Aristotle boring." I'm like, "That's because you're malformed."
Yeah, that's because
I'm
you're.
like, I don't mean to be rude, but like I can see it because I've studied, and I've went all the way to. I went pretty far. Look, I even got to in mathematics, Dedekind, and like I understand it, but I took a historical approach. I can see all the errors people are making. I can see that politically too.
Right.
When you study this chronological historical, because it's one big conversation, right?
Right.
Somebody makes an error, there's an issue, the question needs to go farther. You can't jump in the middle of the conversation.
No.
And again, there's something unnatural and wrong about modernity.
Yes.
Like there are these formal systems where they're stuck in their heads, which is exactly what happens in modernity, right? So like Aquinas says, I don't like to quote Aquinas, but he's right on this. Smaller in the beginning becomes a big error in the end.
Yeah.
Descartes causes the problem of other minds.
Yes.
Right. This sets up eventually for Kant, right? You can't get to the noumenal world. It's the death of metaphysics. He has a book on. It's actually for Kant, I think, actually a pretty good, easy read. It's small. It's about the size of the book I held. Demon into any future metaphysics.
Yep.
We did a whole stream on the death of metaphysics, right?
Yep.
And it goes into two directions in philosophy: phenomenology or logic and language mathematics, stuck in your head, formalism.
For
great. It's actually a pretty easy read.
Very small.
Yeah. It's actually one page.
It's actually one word.
It's like dead. He died. He died. He did.
No, I agree. And that's why intellectual history, I think, is just history in general, right? It's not, we're talking about philosophy, we're talking about intellectual stuff, but the average person, even the average grad student, you talk to them about history and there's just no grasp. I think history is one of the most fascinating topics. I love history, but you can ask a grad student like, what's something that's important that happened in the 12th century? Basically, the world begins with Descartes, and really most of the world begins with the Enlightenment, or the Scientific Revolution, or the Protestant Reformation. It's like, well, if that's where you think knowledge really rose to its pinnacle, then you've already entered into the cul-de-sac of modernity, and there's nowhere for you to go. There's no out.
Yeah, and you know what? I saw this in one of my students' questions on Tuesday. It was an interesting question. I said, I don't actually know how to answer this, but they said, if the ancients had the technology, the level of technology, because we're talking about God, like the theology of time and the liturgy and these different things, said, would they come to the same conclusions? And I'm like, you got it backwards. The reason why we have the technological age and the type of technology that we have is because of rejection of antiquity.
Yes.
So I find it difficult how to answer that question. What if they had the tech? They'd probably reject it. They wouldn't have it. They'd have to destroy their society and philosophies and religion in order to get to where we...
Right.
Now, if they did that, of course they'd be thinking about it. But my student thought that, it's totally progressive, right?
Right.
This kind of idea, I call it futurism, like, well, obviously we're in the future, we're smarter, better, and we have technology, we have medicine, and it's just like, we're worse. Right. We're more retarded than ever.
Right.
Right? If you took, okay, I understand that in antiquity, only if you had what Aristotle calls leisure, have enough money to actually go to school, would you be able to, most people work. Okay, but let's take the people who went to school in the medieval ages or late or early antiquity. Do you really think students in college today are smarter, more advanced than those? I feel like telling them, like, all y'all retarded. Like, you're so, I see it going, like, I see your intellectual abilities every 5 years going down. Like, you are not in a better position.
No.
But you've been sold a false bill that you're better. There's this superiority and absolute delusion, this kind of narcissistic, we have technology and medicine, so we're smart. It's like, so I told the student, I'm like, that's not a good thing. And you can see their gears.
Well, modernity, as we've talked about before, the 5 pillars of individualism, rationalism, scientism, technological progress, and democracy. It's like to assume that technological progress equals advancement is to already put man into the modernist category, because what is advancement? If the goal is theosis, then we're no closer than, the medieval period. In fact, you could make an argument that it was better from that context in the medieval period because they weren't so entrapped through the digital technologies, through the world of Hermes, the god of information. And yeah, I just think that in general, people are just so divorced from an accurate perspective of the presuppositions, assuming that technology means that we're such an advanced civilization. Meanwhile, we have lower literacy rates. Like, we're more illiterate than we were like 60 years ago. People don't realize that. The cowboys that went out west learned how to read. Like, go test somebody at LeBron's school in Cleveland, Ohio. They haven't even graduated someone since that high school existed that has like adequate math and reading skills. We as a civilization are not advanced in regards to human potential, human capacity, like the innate natural abilities we have. Yes, your app can tell you how to get there, but can you memorize how to get there so you don't have to use your app? A lot of people can't. And that's what I mean. It's like, it really is an atrophication of the human entity, which is this battle against nature, right? It's living in the fantasy, the phantasm, which is the abstraction of modernity. Everything is abstract and divorced, and people live in their head. That's what
Bruce Griffin Fultz coined, abstractionism. I was like, that's a perfect.
It is that is modernity. Yeah. Everything becomes abstracted, and it's not tactile. It's not concrete. It's everything leads to utopia. Everything has to do with progress. We're the greatest people. All the goals are general abstractions. Social justice is an abstraction of justice. What is justice? Well, we tend to have a grasp on what that concept means. But when you add, a modifier like social justice, well, what's that mean? Well, it has nothing to do with justice.
Oh, you know what drives me crazy when they pull up St. Basil's social justice? Just go look up. Actually, use AI. I dare you. Use AI to be like, does St. Basil's on social justice have anything to do with the modern conception of social justice? So notice.
To even assume that, you have to be retarded.
Oh, it's so stupid. So here's another thing, too, the distinction between the ancient and modern. Those words don't mean the same thing. So what does every heretic do? They start with their first principles and they read them back into history. Well, Jesus was a socialist, didn't you know? I'm like, yeah, I forgot about that. That Jesus was actually a time traveler. He built a quantum time machine, studied just like they say that he studied under the Buddha in India. He actually studied in the Enlightenment under Karl Marx. Went back and then, stop me if you've heard this story. He then teaches his apostle, Das Kapital and these different Communist Manifesto and the manuscripts. And the apostles write what's known as the Lost Gospel, according to the apostle and evangelist Karl Marx. And well, it got lost, but thank God we dug it up and we got magic glasses to actually read these things. And it turns out, yes,
were they Talmudic or Kabbalistic glasses?
Yeah. Were they? Exactly. I was just like, this is so stupid. Like communalism and these different things that you might have saw in the ancient Christian societies were not premised on Hegelianism and dialectical materialism. Sorry to tell you that. And guess what? Those societies became monasteries. Number two, women were not allowed to hold positions of authority and power. Number three, they were they weren't egalitarian in terms of authority. Like they were highly hierarchical and patriarchal, and no other religions were allowed. Now, if you want to build a society like that and redistribute wealth, I actually might go to it. No,
yeah,
like, oh no, that's not. Well, again, we can root all of this in this kind of denial of nature, the nature at which the ancients understood. There are real essences. There really is something, the distinction between male and female and how they work. How the individual works in a family. All of modernity is premised on radical individualism. I mean, think about Descartes.
Yeah.
He literally proves he exists first. Then God exists because Descartes exists. I am. Right? You see in the icon, the I am. Descartes actually is like, I am. Then the rest of the world exists. So it's this kind of like narcissistic solipsism where just like, I'm in my head. Everything we're talking about is premised on that. But in antiquity, this view of nature and man's relation, there is no individual I. Take a baby from their parents, put on the grass for a couple of days, it dies. So you're born into a community, and the polis is an extension of nature, the nature of the family, right?
Right.
So kind of just tying back to kind of all of these things. So it's like, no, they were not socialists, right? Because all of those are premised on everything that we said. A mechanization of nature, right? A reinterpreting in terms of like Hegelian dialectical materialism, right, of just manipulation of economic forces and this kind of progressivism of Hegel, right, and radical individualism, which is ironic, isn't it, that it's supposed to be communism and socialism, but it's like, it's actually, the starting point is the I, the individual. Anyways, I'm ranting, but
no, that's a good rant. I'm with you.
I just get so mad. I get charged up.
Major shout out to John Kell, been a Codal Crew member for 8 months. He said, God bless y'all. God bless you, brother. And Emperor Tinfoil gifted a Codal Crew membership. Thank you very much. And Arsenio said, Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on me. Absolutely. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask FDA over on his channel or over here. I just want to remind everybody, get your tickets for Montanika. We're having a conversation on the theology and philosophy of Orthodoxy and its relationship to nature. And this is the conference topic this year for Montanika 2026. And there's 50 tickets left, or maybe even less now at this point. But use the link. I'll share the link here. Get your tickets. It's going to be a fantastic conference. I'm telling you, this is more of a retreat than a conference. We've already established. This is multiple days, June 4th through the 7th. And it's a great experience. Not only are you going to see incredible natural beauty, I promise you that, being in Montana, but the natural, organic relationships that you'll form with people will be long-lasting. One of the individuals I very much look forward to seeing is Father Russell.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen him in, well, it will be 3 years when I show up. So
I think most of the priests are showing up from Montana. And, you know, they're wonderful priests in their own ways. But Father Andrew, Father Panagiotis,
35 days.
35 days. Can you believe it? Everybody procrastinates. They're going to sell out. Like, you get in before the door of the kingdom shuts, and you can't. Doesn't it
right.
talk about in Scripture about the behold the Montanika conference that comes at midnight?
I think I remember reading that.
Blessed are those who keep watch and purchase their tickets or something. I don't know what.
It's something like that. I think you're paraphrasing, but yeah, it's something like that. So, guys, get your tickets. I think Josiah Elleron has already said he's going. Snagglebeast is going in the chat. Myself, my wife Jenny will be there. It's going to be a fun time. I always look forward to going up to Montana, and we're going to make it a true exploration for my wife and I. For those of you who didn't join at the beginning of the stream, we're actually taking a week just to drive through the Rockies and go wherever we want to go just to see. Because who knows, with the state of the world right now, you may never get another chance.
Well, that's what people are always like, I'll go next year. I've just told people there one's not going to be a next year.
Eventually, there's not going to be.
People do this every time. Oh, I can't afford. I'm like, that's a lie. We live in a debt society. Of course you can afford going to debt.
Zorch, he got tickets. Nice.
But I'm going to tell, there is no 2027 Montanika. And if there is, then glory to God. But let's just treat it this is it's our last chance to make it up here. Don't procrastinate. St. Paul says, redeem the time. What's the devil's trick? I've got more time. I'll do it later. How about I go to confession next year, guys? I'm clergy shaming you. Get up here.
Now he's shaming you guys for not going to confession. Man, he's about to hit us with some brimstone preaching here.
Yes, Lord.
So, yeah, get your tickets, guys. I can't wait to meet people. Zorcht said, I sold my skin on Craigslist for tickets. You can too. Oh, hey, yeah. You got to make it work. You know, everybody's got to buck up and sacrifice. And if that means selling your skin suit.
Complaining anymore.
Yeah, if it means selling your skin suit.
I can't, it's too far. I can tell what the problem is. It's this, right? Get up here. Make it happen.
That's right. That's right.
Or down here if you're from Canada, bud. There's not much.
Said it
I
grows
was just
back.
thinking there's not many people above us. I guess you're coming from Alaska or Canada.
Are there any? Did you see any Canadian tickets this year? Any Canadian purchases?
Yes.
So there are some Orthodox going from Canada.
Father Ron's coming. Father Ron's from Canada, from
I don't know if I know Father Ron.
Yeah, Father Ron's cool. He's been doing a lot. He's up and coming, kind of doing apologetics, and he's been on Cleve a lot, and Alex, and he, Father Russell's gone on vacation for, I guess, 5 more weeks. He's in Serbia right now. Let me give you his address so you can bother him while he's on. Anyways, so we have Father Ron filling in. He'll be back. He was with us last week. He'll be back this weekend. And then I think 1 more week. And then we have Father Ephraim from the monastery filling in and stuff like that. And then Father Paul coming up. And then it's Pentecost and then straight into the conference. So I'm not even going to see Father Russell until Pentecost.
Are we going to be smoking some cigars this year? I mean, we need to get something, a local whiskey of some sort. Need to get a flavor of Montana. We always hit up their breweries. You guys have great breweries up there.
Yeah, good breweries. We've got the distillery, head frames, and they're always so nice too. You got some of the kind of dodgy bars if you want to check out, like Pisser's Palace up in Walkertown. And what was the other one? There's a couple like I actually haven't been in, but like they're pretty rough. But
What's the one that you got to go underground? That it's like a speakeasy.
oh yes, what is the name of that? They used to be owned by that one's cool. We always go there. Speakeasy. Shoot, that's a good. Look it up.
Somebody in there. Somebody in the chat, look it up.
Somebody look it up.
It's a speakeasy in Butte. It's always a good time.
That's just the most fun. That we've got a new kind of nice Irish bar called Solange. That's pretty cool, and it's like 2 levels, and I think actually it's 3 maybe. No, 2 levels, and on the deck, it's got like this canopy, and you can play. What's the bean bags where you throw into
cornhole.
And you can take your beers up there, and it's basically kind of like a tap house, sort of like the first place that we went. So you had like all kinds of beers, but they also have can serve alcohol there. We have a new Irish restaurant, Sean O'Donnell's. That's awesome. So Butte's a funny, awesome city. Butte, America. It was the second largest city in the United States this side of Chicago. And it had a kind of a boom bust. It was a place where all the actors went. It's where Evel Knievel grew up. So there's
Evel Knievel's from Butte. I did not know that.
And the oldest Chinese restaurant is in Butte. So there's this amazing kind of history. You've got the mines and the underground tour, right? That remember the tunnels where they would do the prostitutes, and the Chinamen couldn't be seen during the day, so they would run working while they were running through like kind of brothels and stuff like that. So that's the kind of era of the speakeasy and like all this kind of stuff. So it's like a really amazing history. Everybody loves Butte. It's a real kind of like worker, blue collar kind of town. But you really get this taste of America and the ethnic
and unique Serbian history there.
The Serbian history, like, do you know it's also currently has the largest Irish population in the United States, larger than Boston? Yeah.
Really? I wouldn't expected that.
Per capita.
Wow, that's interesting.
Probably more. Yeah.
That's very interesting. Yeah, guys, get your tickets. I'm telling you, it's going to be a blast. Jared Fetzer, shout out to Jared, man. I haven't seen or chatted with you in forever, man. We miss you over in the Logos Academy. Would love to catch up. Jared Fetzer throws in 10, says, I've always thought all the philosophers were wrong. Well, you weren't wrong in thinking that. I was just always too ignorant to say why. Also, sorry, it's been a while. I'll be joining the Codal crew. Oh, excellent, Jared. God bless you, man. Hope you and the family are doing well. You're not wrong to say all the philosophers were wrong. That's what Father Deacon's already said. And the point is to become less ignorant so you can articulate why. But thank you so much, brother.
Right. Like the way they're thinking about stuff, like that's important too. So not just to understand the historical context and influence, but like those questions are important questions.
Yeah. Does anybody have any more questions or comments before we wrap up here? Again, the real point of today's stream is just to give you a taste of what Montanika is going to be like this year, talking about orthodoxy and nature. I'm telling you, it's going to be an incredible experience. If you're in the area, if you have the opportunity, do it. You don't know if you'll be able to go again next year or the year after. If you can, then it's a blessing. If not, don't miss out on your opportunity. Make 2026, especially with global chaos. Who knows where the world's going to be by the fall? I mean, my gosh, the news cycle spins so fast. Who knows where we're going to be in the future? So make sure to get your tickets.
Yeah. And what else was I to say about? Yeah, we have, keep in mind too, people asked me last year because it's getting so big.
Yeah. We should say there's going to be about 200 people there. So this is the biggest Montanika yet. It's going to be packed.
There were some proposals about moving it to like a hotel conference center in Butte. And I took a couple days to think about it, and then I turned it down with what I was talking to the board and some of the workers of the conference. And the reason why is I it would lose the ethos of the church.
Yep.
Our church is right Holy Trinity
Yep.
in Butte, Montana, is 127 years old.
Yep.
Founded by Saint Sebastian of America, as somebody pointed out. Our first Serbian. And consecrated by Saint Tikhon the Enlightener. And there's this just amazing story of him coming from San Francisco, and by train, the farthest you get was Boise. Now, Boise, if you drive from Boise, that's like a 7-hour drive to Butte, because it's down at the larger kind of. He hiked it. He hiked over the Continental Divide with like a 40-pound gospel book, came there, founded that parish. All the people working in the mines came in, and they raised the funds in 3 days, because they pulled all the gold out of their pockets and threw it on the ground. And Saint Sebastian was like, well, no, that's your livelihood. He says, no, because we don't know any time we go into those mines, we could die. And we die with that money in our pocket that we didn't serve God in his church. We're going to be held accountable on Judgment Day. So they poured on, the funds were raised in 3 days, and that church was built. So there's this real kind of history. I mean, that's old. Right. Who would have thought out in the middle of nowhere, Montana, that you have a story like this with two saints? So I definitely would rather cap it at 200 and not move it.
Right.
Because there's something
you shouldn't move it.
Yeah.
It would change the vibe. The fact you can do liturgy and then go straight from liturgy to fellowship to the conference. Yeah. No, it's ideal. Has the repairs on the iconography in Holy Trinity already been finished?
Yep. Shane Swenson finished that last year. He was finishing, I think, soon after last year's conference, he finished it up. So we're going to miss Shane. I always liked the last 2 years he was with us, but that was a cool addition to have him there and see people seeing. And it's going to blow your mind that it's all finished, and we've got the new chandelier, and it's pretty impressive.
I'm excited. Snaggleby's Codal Crew member for 26 months. God bless you, brother. He says, God bless FDA and DPH. I can't wait to meet again in just over a month. God bless you all. Snagglebeast was at the conference in Florida. He was with Josiah. So I don't know if you spoke with him, but I had a couple quality conversations with Josiah and Snagglebeast. So you may have, again, if you remember, you probably remember when you meet him in person. You've already met in Florida. But shout out to you, Snagglebeast. God bless you, brother. And looking forward to meeting up again. So anything you want to... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, is there anything else you want to promote or tell people about before we wrap up here?
So this has come up before too. Somebody in my chat, they said, am I on the Gregorian calendar? No Orthodox are on the Gregorian calendar. You know that?
Yes.
We have two calendars. We're on the Julian. So the question is, are you on the Julian or the revised Julian?
Right.
But somebody asked me this the other day. And I just want to point that out. They said Gregorian, and they're asking, no Orthodox anywhere on the Gregorian. That's the West. That's Latins and Protestants and stuff like that. All Orthodox are on the Julian, so it just depends on your old calendar, right? You're on the Julian. If you're on the new calendar, you're called revised Julian.
Right.
It doesn't matter because Pentecost is on the same day. So somebody's asking in the chat. So it doesn't. We don't have different Easters, right, between old and new calendar. They're called fixed feasts, right?
Yeah.
And we have several of them. Anyways, I just thought I'd answer that.
No,
why? Because this would become a problem. This is why we choose after the week after Pentecost. Why? Everybody celebrates Pentecost in the Orthodoxy on the same day. And the week after Pentecost is a feast week. It means you're not allowed to fast. So what perfect place, and that's whereas we put in another time or something like that, we may deal with issues between old and new calendar. What we've, you see that we are on the old calendar as Serbians. What about, like, for example, Thanksgiving? All the new calendar people are fasting by Thanksgiving, right? Because of the nativity fast, right? So, anyways, all that I don't mean to spurg out on it, but like, it's important that we want everybody feasting together with us. So that was another reason why we chose the week after Pentecost. But good question. I don't mean to bust people's chops on that, but it's important that we
No, go ahead, rake them over the coals. Just because they get a
Or
little
we
calendar
don't-
issue, a little nomenclature, they refer to it as Georgian. FDA's got to stomp on their face. I mean, my
Yeah,
gosh,
exactly.
dude. We
He's
just
so
had
mean.
Pascha.
By the way, it was funny. I saw somebody in your chat. It got booted. Thank God for our mods. A lot of your mods are my mods.
Yeah.
My mod is your mod. Your mod is my mod. From Indiana to the Montanas. You like my song?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Father Turbo's doing a mental health conference. Like, he couldn't. But most of you aren't in the. I talked to him about that. Most people are not in the mental health industry, so he says it shouldn't dip into our conference. If it does, you are to blame, as always, right? The audio goes down, not my fault. It's your fault. If you can't make the conference, your fault. But anyways,
Is that what you do? You just chastise your chat for causing all your audio problems?
Yeah. Well, I single people out. I don't throw everybody under the bus. Like, I just randomly pick some. Like, that guy looks like a guy that needs to be chastised right there. Jenny's coming. We're like, I can't wait for her to see. She can be blown away by Montana. And
she's going to be blown away by the whole trip, I think.
Oh, somebody has a good question. VIP tickets, you waited too long. They're all sold out. Told you.
All VIP are gone?
All VIP are gone. And that has to do with space. First of all, John Hears is leading it. He's going to be the Tamada. And
yeah.
He says,
well, tell them what you're saying. The VIP will participate in the Georgian Supra with the presenters. I know I and Jenny, you and your wife, and then the VIP will be joining us for a large Georgian Supra led by John Hears.
I might send my wife off to the women's. The women are doing their own kind of.
Oh, the women are doing their own thing. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, great. Even better. We'll be able to have more fun.
Yeah, the guys. No women. Yeah, it said on there, you didn't realize on the VIP ticket, no women allowed. Anyways. Yeah, I told people, look, John said, you really don't want to do a Georgian Supra over 25. When we did in Florida, that was about as big as he says you can do it. It starts to break apart. So, I mean, if you think about it, we have, what is it? Count on there, 7 or 8 speakers.
There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 speakers.
7 speakers. We're obviously going to have Father Russell. Not every priest can. I just don't have room. There's going to be a lot of clergy here. Father Peter Hears might make it too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I guilt tripped him into. I'm like, your brother. I'm like, look at your brother. Why is your brother outdoing you, Father? And so Father Julian and Father Valentin from Texas, our Romanian priests, are coming. Father Sebastian Cafe, Father Ron, Father Nickel. Like, there's a lot.
Father David from Boise.
I think he's coming too. That's right.
Yeah, Father David, because I know that's Michael's parish, and I know a handful of guys go every year from there.
Oh yeah, there's a huge group coming from Boise. I can see on the ticket. So anyway, let's do Father Russell. That's 8. We have to have a couple servers. We do have Pantalemon, who is going to give us some a brief introduction before we start about where the monastery is at. He's currently in Serbia, and the good news of it becoming a Montanika under both Bishop Maxim, but under the spiritual guidance of Hildar Monastery and Abbot Methodius.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, we'll probably have a lot of the potential monks being here already.
Did they agree that it's English-speaking monastery?
Yes, it has to be
glory
English
God.
speaking. We already have candidates. We're interviewed. I picked up Abbot Methodius with my subdeacon last year, and there were about 50 people that were interviewed. I think they narrowed it down to 20 serious candidates. A lot of them have gone into monasteries right now until we get them. Some of them are going to be moving into Butte and be integrated in our, waiting for integrating into our community in Butte, the Holy Trinity, as they wait for the monastic cells to be finished. But we've got some really good news on that. So that's Pantelmon will be there. Two of my readers, one of them's at the reader's house, Reader Thomas's house. So that is 10. We got Neil. That's 11. Do you see, and adding 15 people on there, that's what, 26 people. I'm already
26.
over.
Yeah.
Not including the servers too. I have to have a couple servers to bring dishes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. So I had to cut it off. Like we don't have room, and you don't want it over 25 really. So you missed out. Everybody procrastinated.
Yeah, your fault. You lose. Sorry.
Also, I want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors. If you go down, if you pull that list up, let's look at our sponsors.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna have my godfather.
Where's the sponsors at?
Down at the bottom.
Sponsorships.
Down. There we go. So obviously we have Laura coming. Laura Coffee with the Faith Coffee collab. We have Hellenic College Holy Cross in Boston coming out again to sponsor. We have St. Paisios Brotherhood and my godfather, co-founder and director of the St. Paisios Brotherhood, be there. But look at Logo Cinema, up and coming Orthodox movie dudes that are where you can streaming service. They're also videographers. They're going to be doing the videography.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're really excited by our sponsors, and there's still room. If we have a couple other sponsors that didn't want to necessarily be listed, but if you are know somebody that doesn't even have to be an Orthodox business, like Speakeasy is not Orthodox, but that somebody wants to sponsor.
Is Speakeasy 41 the speakeasy we were talking about?
No, that's the one next door to. They are Christian. Yeah, they're moving.
What just happened? Did you just mute yourself?
Told you that.
His audio problem. He's going to blame it on you guys. Just prepare yourself.
Does it work now? Can you hear it?
It does.
Yeah, I just switched from the kind of a refresh. Yeah, they're not here next door. They didn't renew their lease, but they're still going to support us, and they're looking for a new building. But anyways, they are Christian, they're Protestant, but like the good crew of friends over there. What else? You can come here early. People are getting here early. We have the free camping option at David's ranch property. A lot of people enjoy that. That's located about 25-30 minutes from the parish up in the mountains. It's what we call dry camping, so there are no facilities. I think there is a bathroom, shower. There's one. But obviously, you're going to have to take turns. I ain't going to allow you guys to shower together. One thing. Not on my watch. So, I mean, it's just like if you went out camping, you got your tent and stuff like that. But he calls it the compound, right? Because it's this huge, it's got like tunnels, like escape tunnels. Because the people that he purchased from were like preppers. and thought the end of the world was coming. So they had all these escape hatches and tunnels, and it's like it can survive a nuclear holocaust, and like there's this huge wall. So it's actually really cool. People love it. I think Father Turtle and the nuns stayed there too, and they really just enjoyed it. So that is a free to bring down costs. You can do that. I know a lot of people are doing Airbnbs. Also, don't forget our partner hotel, Butte Plaza Inn, Best Western. There is giving us, if you purchase the ticket, you get a discounted link. You get a link to a discount where it's only $115 a night. It's totally remodeled. It's actually a really nice hotel. It's really close to the parish. And prices in the summertime go up. Like right now, the rooms are probably around 176, 180. So you're already getting a discount from that 115. As we get closer, they'll go up to 200. And that's not just Montana, that's everywhere. If you ever looked at
Well, especially that part of the country during the summer, that's when everybody's there for tourist stuff, to travel. It is the best time to be in that part of the country because everything's blooming, everything is beautiful. So, yeah, the price of the rooms are going to go up closer to the event. You got 35 days. Make the decision now. Get your ticket. Get your plane and your travel set up. If you're in driving distance, there's no excuse. If you're in driving distance, you got to go. If you got to fly, TSA is a very unfortunate factor in the whole traveling thing. My wife and I got to fly to Denver. Gosh, is flying not one of the most irritating activities you can participate in now?
I actually like flying in the air. I don't like the process of going through airlines and TSA and all that.
Yes, that's what I mean. Just that the process is so irritating. I got groped last time I went to Texas to work on the debate course with Andrew Wilson. On the way back out of Dallas, they groped the crap out of my crotch. Apparently, you go through the little scan. You got to stand like this.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but there was red on my crotch. Like when it shows like I don't know, heated. I don't even know what they're scanning. And the guy's like, "Oh, well, we have to frisk you." And I was like, "Okay." And they don't hold back. And I looked over and one of the TSA guys was looking and we made eye contact and he's like, like looks away in shame. It's like, bro, this is your man. Get your mans, bro. He's
it's funny, they'll use their backhand like it's like so it's
yeah, but he's like up in your junk. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really frustrating to fly. Like that's why in July we're gonna drive back to California. We have some stuff to obviously get out of storage and bring back up. Boxes of books, and lots of other stuff. But
books are such a hassle to travel with.
They take up
like moving. Like whenever you move to a new location, if you have a ginormous library, it's so cumbersome.
Yep. It's how long I've been up here? 6 years, and I still don't. I probably only have half my books that I. Yeah, it's funny. I always gonna go back. I'm like, oh, that's where I was looking for that one the other day. That's funny.
I don't know how you do it though. You've been in Montana how many years?
6 years.
6 years. Like, how are you living without all the rest of your books?
Well, I kind of prioritized. Like, I'm like, these I use the most. But occasionally a book comes up. I'm trying to find a reference. Something like the other day. What was it? It was. It wasn't Thucydides. It was like some ancient. It was. Was it Herodotus? I think it was looking. We all have this experience, right? Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Like, my God, where's my Herodotus? Anyways, I don't even know how it came up, but I was like looking for something, and then I realized Herodotus. And I left it because I'm like, when am I going to need Herodotus up in Montana? Well,
I just feel with my books like I gotta have all of them. I don't. There's so many books I've never even opened since I've set them on these shelves. Now I've only been here for like 6 months, but I gotta have all my books. It's like a piece of the research. I use it for content creation for me. So, but I'm sure you have so many freaking philosophy books that, yeah, many of them you never even use. Snaggleby said Denver is also the worst airport in the nation. LAX is a close
Absolutely.
second. It's true.
100%.
It's true. It's demonically. There's a demonic spirit in Denver. Of course, they have that strange horse out there that killed the guy who created it, Lucifer, the blue horse. You know what I'm
I
talking
didn't
about?
know that. But there's always some weird
Oh
stuff.
yeah, dude. There is a horse that is clearly like demonically inspired. And when the guy built it, it fell on him at the end and killed him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I gotta show it to you now.
Well, it's like that story I was just telling. I was doing office hours for my seminary students because I teach online at Jordanville now. And we were talking about demonic possession or something. We started with Jim Bob's Christos when he was painting. He's like, we're just going to paint a nice Baphomet horn right here. Have you seen that where he does the... So we're talking about like demonic possession, different stuff like that. I'm like, and I watched recently, oh my God, that thing does look demonic.
Oh yeah, here it is right here.
Ooh.
It lights
I
up red
watched the
eyes at
most
night.
recent Conjuring, Ed and Lorraine Warren, which is so weird. Like, I can't believe that actually, I don't know if you've studied them at all. I mean, or know about them.
Mm-mm.
So they were like in the 60s and 70s, I think. They were like this parapsychic, paranormal kind of group, but they were Roman Catholic. But the Roman Catholic Church basically let them as laity get involved in all this like demon possession, exorcism, like do it by themselves. And I'm like, that's crazy. Could you ever imagine the Orthodox? Oh yeah, I want to do a demon possession and get involved in the occult and paranormal, but they let them do it. And there's some really weird kind of stuff, but they have a whole series, right, of movies called The Conjuring.
Oh yeah.
And they have that doll.
Yeah.
That what was she called? She looked like a creepy Raggedy Ann doll that was possessed. It was real,
Right.
like it actually was possessed. Anyways, they'd since passed on, and some guy, some YouTuber or something like that, purchased it and took it out of the box, and he died like a crazy, mysterious death. And I'm like, you don't open that stuff. Don't touch it.
Wow.
Anyways, now we got that. We got what? Help me out in the chat, guys. What's the name of the doll? The creepy
Annabelle?
Annabelle. Thank you. So we got Annabelle. We got the Denver horse.
Well, then you have the military tunnels underneath Denver Airport, right? There's all these theories about an entire underground city under Denver Airport. They have weird murals in the Denver Airport that seem to pick like the apocalypse. And so,
And God help you if you live in Denver. What an awful city.
I don't know. It's such like California. It's such a beautiful state. And just like Illinois, where one city dictates the politics of the entire state.
And the other
Denver
thing
just
too
runs
is
Colorado.
like what's always been good about Colorado's scheme. Do you know how far? Like they're in like this flat plateau, Denver. The mountains are like super far away. I think if you drove like it's over an hour and a half. I heard they have a speed train that can get to one of the resorts, but I'm like, you're not even close to like ski resorts. Like that was the only kind of upshot about Colorado. It's like
like Aspen and Vail.
Yeah, it's just in a flat area, and the mountains are super far. We can't even see the kind of the distance, and I'm just like, yuck, it's a gross city. I don't like it.
No, I'm not a fan of Denver per se, but I am excited to explore the natural beauty of Colorado with Jenny. That will be.
No, you will find. Yeah, Colorado.
I was thinking where I was going to reach out to Jim Bob and see. I don't know what city him and Meg Bob live in, but maybe we can drive by and grab lunch or something to see.
Yeah, and there's another person I should roast. That guy every year.
Who, Jim Bob?
Yeah, he should. I should
roast
shame
his
him.
Ass. He deserves it.
He deserves it. He's a stinky. Give me some vocab words. He's a stinky,
Lazy,
lazy,
uncreative,
uncreative,
backstabbing.
backstabbing, slippery, snaky silver tongue. There was some line from like Nietzsche that he called a snaky civic serpentine, or like he had some funny line or critique or somebody. Jim Bob, that's you. 3 years, man. I've been inviting you to come up here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he won't. I think there is, if I remember right, somebody told me there's some type of icon conference workshop going on, and he might go to that. But he's a great musician.
He is.
Funny
No, he's
dude.
incredibly talented and artistic, creative
I
guy.
wish if he experienced Montanika, he would know. But so all of you,
Well, he's scared, clearly.
he's scared. That's what Crispy always says. Jim Bob's running again. We're supposed to have like a battle of the guitar where I challenge Jim Bob to battle me in Butte, Montana. Butte, Montana guitar battle.
Guitar battle. I thought you guys were getting lightsabers.
Yeah, that's right. We'll do that
Like the
after we
like
have
the LARPers with the plastic lightsabers and that go
Yeah.
ching when you hit them. I thought that's what you guys were up to. Forgive me, I don't know where I got that.
Questions, guys, before we've been going for
Texas Nevsky says Jim Bob is a great supine protoplasmic invertebrate jelly.
Exactly, dude. Silver
Gosh,
tongue.
his
Has a
ancestor
silver-
really is
has that
bacteria.
Civic silver tongue in there, right? He's probably he's a city boy, dude. That's what
Menace said, "Call him a nasty little gibbon."
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Menace to sobriety. That's a great name too.
Yeah,
Menace to sobriety.
that's great. I love some of the names we get up in here.
Nasty little gibbon.
That's a good one. Let's see. Any questions before we head out, guys?
Yeah, you guys got any last questions or comments you want us to address? Jim Bob.
By
is
the way, we do have our own socialism here in Montana. So for all you woke leftoids, we have a socialist coffee shop where you can get your own Marxiato with soy milk. Well, my Marxiato, double shot of Marxiato, anti-cappuccino. Oh, we have anti-cappuccinos for sale. That'd be so funny to have like a troll guy, like a guy set up at like one of the booths where you've seen that guy that does that with the colored hair, and he's got the rainbow suspenders, and he goes to these like town hall meetings. And
bro, you just let your ponytail out with that beard. You throw on those suspenders, and people will think that's you.
yes, and we'll go around and we'll do live streams. I came up with this idea. It was
You
a
need to
terrible.
get like the Google glasses or something where you can record live stream while you engage with people.
So fun. I've thought about that step up my game. I know everybody hates me, and my subscriber will always be set below 17K. That's all right. Not of this world, brother. Anyway, so I was like, but if I really wanted to step up my game and get a lot of subscribers and build my brand,
Yeah.
I could do like bar debates. It's like bum fights, but it's like bum fights back in the day. Now, of course, I would tell my wife this after I had a couple drinks. We were out for our birthday dinner. She's like, "That's the worst idea." I'm like, "No, everybody's gonna love it." Like, look at this idiot, right? Because I had this conversation with this Democrat, like he was at the bar. Like we stopped by the bar before we were early for dinner, so we went to the bar next door, and he's like, "Hi, I'm so and so, and we're having a political fundraiser here." I'm like, "Oh, really? Oh, are you?" I'm like, "Well, I'm Dr. Sorman. I'm a professor at the University of a professor of logic down there at the University of Science." I should have done the Norm Macdonald professor of logic on him. And he was like, "Oh, well, that's my district." He's like, "Do you vote?" And I'm like, "Oh, I know for you, I've already been on my stream. I've told the story, but it's so funny." I was like, "It's kind of complicated." I'm like, ugh. I said, let me put it this way. I said, all your political starting points, human being rights, all that, I'm going to deny every single one of them. I said, so it's going to be a really hard having a conversation. I said, I'm not even in the sphere that we can talk about normie politics. I said, in fact, I'm a Byzantine monarchist, and I probably lean pretty authoritarian because I'm sick of people like you and other people. And he was like, that's the most amazing. Like, he just couldn't believe it. He's like, that's the most amazing answer I've ever heard. He's like, well, that gets you out of political conversation. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what are we going to talk about? Trump did that. I'm like, all the stupid normie. Anyways, I got this idea where I was like, oh man, this would be really fun to stream this. And then my wife,
I can see that. You walk into one of those speakeasies in Butte or Helena, and you ask, hey, can you guys have justification for your epistemological presuppositions? And all of a sudden a Pabst Blue Ribbon just flies across the room and hits you right in the face.
Yeah, that's exactly. I wouldn't try that in Butte. But when the first time I went to Florida to the conference, I tried to get Jay to do this. I'm like, Jay, we'll do like street debates. And he's like, I'm not interested. I'm like, I wasn't asking, Jay. I'm like, we're doing street debates at the bar.
Yeah.
Now
he doesn't drink. Right. He doesn't even like those settings.
That's why he was actually a bad idea sounded really good to me. And it sounded like
absolute hell for Jay. He doesn't want to go anywhere near that.
No. Anyways, it was the same with my wife, who was just like, that's the worst idea. We have to live with these people. I live in a town with 30,000 people. I'm the only clergyman. I'm the resident clergy member of Helena. I'm the only clergy member in the entire Orthodox world that lives in Helena. There is nobody else.
Oh, God help him.
God help him. And I'm the Carroll College professor. Everybody knows me. It's a small town. It's like, I can't actually do that. I do have to live with these people.
They would love then your LGBTQ suspenders.
Yeah, they would love. Yeah, exactly. Anyways, so, but maybe we'll do it in Butte. Maybe we'll see what happens in Butte, because I don't live in Butte. I just serve there Sundays.
There you go.
But they still know me. I can't really do it. But anyways, doesn't that sound fun? Who knows what's going to happen?
Oh, what a shame. FDA's a local celebrity in Montana, rubbing it in all of our faces. Yeah. Hey, come to my event, guys.
And then what we're going to do, for this year, I invested a lot of money. I bought all of you khaki pants and polos, and we're going to march it down to the Capitol.
Oh, gosh. Ortho Proud Boys?
Well, we got new funding from the
That's
SPLC.
not going to help the reputation of the event.
No, but we got new funding. One of our new sponsors is Southern Poverty Law Center this year. So
yeah,
I figured we might as well just keep the trend going.
I thought this year Montanika was just a honeypot to try to get all the Orthodox nationalists and rake them all up and allow the FBI to wrangle them.
Yeah, that's right. But what we will, because we could have some feds there.
I'm still slightly convinced the first year that one kid was a Fed.
Never get over that.
For those of you who don't know, we are. It's the first. So this is the first Montanika. This is at Carroll College. It's me, Jay, Father Deacon, and Michael Witkoff as the speakers. And the first speaker goes. I think it was FDA. Were you the first speaker, or was it Witkoff? Maybe it was Witkoff.
Wyckoff, I think.
And he ends his speech and we begin Q&A. And this one guy,
No, he was doing Q&A on mine. It was after
oh, so it
mine.
was on yours then. That was what I had in my mind. It was in your
I
speech.
told people, and it falls for these conferences too. First of all, be on your best behavior. You can't. I know a lot of people like guns. We love guns up here, but I have a rule for like legal and safety issues. If you're going to be drinking, you need to keep your guns. Like, don't bring them on the premises and stuff like that, because there are laws. Number two, no unofficial photography. If you want to take a picture, you need to ask the speaker, whoever you want to. And number three, no recordings. And that was one of the first ones that I implemented.
Yep.
These ones that I said were implemented later. But sure enough, well, first of all, people were coming up to me and like, hey man, like, who is that guy? Like,
yeah,
I don't know if he was saying weird stuff to them the night
he said
before.
weird stuff the night before. We went to that brewery. It was the first night of the first Montanika. And he kept talking about like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do about America? It was the night before.
Yeah.
And he was talking about like getting basically like armed militias. And Father Deacon gives his speech. It's during the Q&A. This guy's recording. He's already asked, I think that was during Wyckoff, asked not to record. That was one of the rules. He was trying to record the whole thing. And multiple times during the Q&As, and it's especially during FDAs, he stands up. He's like, what are we going to do, guys? We need to take up arms. What are we going to do? We need to do something about it.
Oh, it's so funny.
I think,
he was like, yeah. He's like all this philosophy. But what are we going to do about it? I'm like, excuse me? Like, and I remember everybody like looking at, and he had that little microphone thing, like it just looked so weird. And I was like, well, we are doing something. We're meeting here. And he's like, no, but what are we going to, he's like, what are we practically going to do about it? And I'm like, I'll have your butt removed from this premises if you keep that up. So anyway, it became this ongoing joke, like, that we do every year. Like, yeah. But what are we going to do about it? yeah. Philosophy of beauty and iconography and nature, but what are we going to do about it? So this year we will be doing something about it. We will have khakis and polo shirts. And
yeah.
You can have American flags. 1776 is what we're going to do about it.
Oh, I plan on bringing all my Israel flags and Israel regalia. I thought this was a pro-Zionist conference.
Pro-Zionist. We're going to do the blood moons. We got 10 blood moons in Butte. Blood moon boots.
Those are actually in style this year.
Ted Cruz is going to be one of the surprise guest speakers. Love that.
Why wasn't he going to give a theological discussion on who is the true Israel?
But we might have I'll never forget Father Andrew, dude. He's so funny. He's like, turn to your left, turn to your right. Like, he got up and he was like, he was trying to. Father Andrew is like super intense.
Yeah.
And he's like a man's man, a priest kind of. And so he was trying to set the tone for the beginning of the conference one year. He's like, be on your best behavior. He's like, turn to your left, turn to your right. He's like, any one of those could be a Fed. He's like, you want, like, just, I'm like, Father, take it down. Oh my God. Yeah, I want some like boundaries and stuff. And, but like, let's not set like paranoia for the beginning. The theme of paranoia. Why he's right behind you.
They're going to confuse the social awkwardness of the autist at the conference. Like, that guy's acting weird. I think he's a Fed. He needs to go. It's like, no, he's
on to something. So anyways, I invested. We'll have, we do have a lot of law enforcement. I do have, you won't see them. You won't see them coming. They're my security detail. They are armed. Like, if somebody gets put you down like an old dog.
Well, I noticed them right away. When you had like 4, 6, 5 black guys following you around, I thought those must be his security guards.
They are parishioners. They're in law enforcement. But what I started new this year is we'll have polygraph. Like when you sign for your registration, if you're hiding anything, we'll find out. We'll go through. And if you don't pass the polygraph, we have a separate. We actually built like we have a new office, Billy. But back in there's actually a waterboarding. We'll get the information.
Well, I was told that there was forced confessions that were linked up to the waterboarding and the lie detector. So that's the only way Father Russell can know whether you can commune or not.
That's right. That's how. We're just totally paranoid, suspicious, armed militias up here. And these people, there's people that actually believe they're still going with those stupid lies. Somebody came up from Texas and told Father Russell, there's a white supremacist militia cult up there. It's like, how stupid do you have to believe to still believe that line? Well, and now it's great with the whole SPLC. It's like, there are no such things as white supremacy militia. They're all like Democrats.
Yeah.
So you can't use anymore. But people are dumb enough. You got the R word in there, and they just critical thinking just go like, oh my God, racism, right? So God help you if you're one of those. But like I said, there's even a place in heaven for slow boys. So it's not the end of the world.
Although I heard it's filling up fast.
Yeah,
just like Montanika 2026.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we should do a we was kings, Edomite, anti-Edomite, Yakub conference. If we do 2027, it'll be Yakub, the theme of Yakubianism.
Do you think you may invite like an alien gray to actually present so that we could be enlightened a little bit?
I was going to do Candace Owens. I thought I figured, tie out everything. Let's see.
You just had a super chat come in. Pro Zilch throws in 10 over on patristic faith. Says, other than the Orthodox Study Bible, what's your favorite Bible to use?
The Greek. I have a Greek with lemon. I have a Greek Bible. Why not use the Greek Bible? That's my favorite Bible. Yeah, I've got like a 127-year-old
Actually,
Greek Bible.
You speak of that. That's what I have right here is the Greek New Testament.
What's cool, that one has the Latin right next to it. So it has St. Jerome's Latin Vulgate. So I can
so you're a Latinizer now too.
I'm a Latinizer. That's
wow. Wow. So
man, you gave me the best idea. 2027 will be the Latinizer conference. All of you are right. Babies are burning in hell. Thank God. And that penal substitutionary is correct, right? And what else? What am I forgetting?
Men can be women.
No, with the Latinizers.
Yeah. Okay. So men can be with men.
Yeah. No Essence Energies Distinction Conference. Absolute mind simplicity. Yeah. Okay.
Question. One quick question, then we'll get out of here. Question: Heidegger's being towards death makes post-death consciousness impossible.
Wrong. Ask the Heideggerian scholar. He'll be up here on the. Well, I don't think Heidegger believed in, but we do have a being towards death, and it affects the way that we be when we know that we'll be no longer. So I don't think that necessarily implies there's no consciousness after.
Well, and Heidegger's views really changed toward the end of his life. Once right before he died, there's rumors that he converted to Catholicism. He was buried, I think, in a Catholic cemetery.
Well, at least it wasn't Judaism. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry for being a
At least it wasn't John Hagee's cemetery.
Yeah, I'm sorry for being a Nazi, but he did a. No, you didn't know this. The Lost History of Heidegger. He did a Kanye. right? Yeah. Remember Kanye like came out with this song, and then he's like kissing the rabbi's feet, and it was like, "I'm so sorry." You never saw that?
Mm-mm.
Weird world. If we went back into time and you found me in 1996, let's see what I look like in 1996. You found me in 1996. I'm not pulling that one up. And you told me, yeah, let's do that one right there.
Oh yeah.
That there was a black rapper that was Nazi singing his song. I'd just be like, what are you talking about? If you try to explain what 2026 looks like 30 years ago to somebody, do you think they believe anything you're saying?
No. One, I think they'd be entirely surprised by the lack of progress.
Yeah. Isn't that funny when you watch the movies? It's like,
Think of the Jetsons. What wasn't the first Jetson in like the into the 50s, early 60s?
yeah, we're supposed to be flying around in spaceships, like on our own Mormon space planet.
Well, you will get your Tesla robot though. Thank God for that. And then
Anyway,
for
what
everybody
else?
out there, you can then get it customized and make it a sex bot as well that also does dishes and cleans the house.
And that's progress, guys.
That's progress. Yeah, that's where we're at. That's
At
progress. Oh, and then instead of thinking, you can just put it all into an AI.
nice.
All right, guys. Smash that like. Thank you all very much for being here. Get your tickets for Montanika. I look forward to meeting anybody who got the tickets to see you guys in about 35 days. So I'm looking forward to it. I know Father Deacon's looking forward to it. And hopefully you guys are looking forward to it as well. So I will be back with another stream on Kosovo. I'm doing research on. It's a deep dive into the history of Kosovo and Serbian Orthodox persecution in Kosovo. So hopefully I can get all that together and do that Friday. May do a Logos news stream tomorrow. We'll see. Not a bunch of interesting stuff to really talk about in the news
I know.
as of late.
Turns out life's really boring right now. We're not going to be talking about
Well, my gosh, it's like dopamine fatigue, like dopamine overload.
Yeah.
You have like Iran war, global energy crisis, Ukraine taxed the military factory of Russia. It's like everything was happening, like boom, 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 huge events.
Yeah. We're now in the lull, the dopamine lull.
Yeah, everybody's preparing for summer. All right. God bless you
Oh,
all.
one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Christ has risen.
Truly he is risen. Trampling down death by death, and upon those in the tombs, bestowing life. All right, guys. Love you all. Thank you all very much. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. FDA, if you guys don't, go subscribe to Patristic Faith. Patristic Faith. I know.
And vice versa, those on Patristic Faith go over to Church of the Eternal Logos and subscribe.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
If you don't, technically, now I don't make the rules, but technically you're gay. So
Yes.
why are you gay?
Yeah. Exactly. Shame them.
Yeah, so be a heterosexual and subscribe to our channels. I will see you all potentially tomorrow, if not Friday. So God bless you all. Christ is risen, and I'll see you in the next one. As always, until then, God bless.